welcome to Devil's Advocate. I'm Ben, I'm joined by Shawn.
Hello.
And special guest this week, Mike from Cutting the Ball has come to join us.
I do.
And we're going to talk about dictators, or a selection of dictators, not every dictator. We're not going to go through Hitler and Stalin in this episode, because let's face it, you know.
Everyone knows them.
Everyone knows who they
Bit
are.
obvious, isn't it?
Yeah. We're going to go for some of the more slightly dodgy ones, or, you know, the lesser well-known.
Yep.
We got one each.
Yep.
So, Mike, it's your pick. You can go first.
I've gone for Gurbanguly Bernie Muhammadov.
I loved how you with the in there as well.
Muhammadov.
You've got to pronounce his name correctly.
That's right.
It's just rude not to.
And where is he currently dictator of?
Turkmenistan.
Right.
Where's that?
It's
Next
over
to Afghanistan.
Oh, okay.
where all the other stands are.
And Uzbekistan.
I just imagine a guy just sat there like, "Hi, I'm Stan."
There is loads of stands.
Yeah.
They're also close to each other, aren't
We all just live here.
they?
Kind of the rule.
Think of the far east of Russia.
Okay.
It's on the border of that.
Oh, okay.
Used to be part of the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
That explains why he gave Putin that puppy.
That's it.
Keep it sweet.
Yeah.
Probably
Yeah.
shouldn't have held it by the scruff of the neck then. Putin was like, "Dear God, let go of him. Give him here."
I think the Russians help them economically. I think they give them free gas and shit.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
That seems a bit unfair. Why doesn't he give us free gas?
because we're the evil West.
Yeah, we're not puppets of his regime.
I want to be part of his regime. Putin's awesome.
Free gas.
Yeah. And you get to get jacked and ride on bears.
Oh yeah. Oh, then
If we kill the dear leader, unfortunately we're sent to a gulag. Probably, but-
No, I'll be fine. I'll just be there riding a bear with him. Like, I'm not going to speak poorly of him. I'll be like, "Your bear is phenomenous."
Phenomenous.
Phenomenous. Making up words.
It's probably a word in Russian.
Your gas is delictus.
He's huffing gas on top of a bear.
You ride off into the sunset.
Well, we got 2 minutes and then we started talking about Putin. That's longer than I thought we'd get.
Technically, he's a dictator.
Yeah. We were talking about that, weren't we, earlier? Whether or not he's a dictator. I don't think he is. He's on the line.
Well, he kind of is, because he's never out of power, regardless of who runs, is he? I mean, because he just takes turns with his mate.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'll be prime minister for the next few years. You can be president, and then once you've done your term, we'll swap over basically, and I'll go for president.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know who's really in charge?
It's always him.
It's always him, regardless of what title he's got, what job he's doing that day,
Yeah.
what hat he's wearing. Do you ever see the other guy at various events?
That's true. That is true.
You know, the G7 or the G8, whatever it is or was. You know, Putin used to rock up. No matter who's in charge, Putin was there. And he was head of the KGB.
Yeah.
That's pretty balls.
Not someone to be messed with.
No.
No, and he knows that all the bodies are buried.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But because he put half of them there himself.
Well, anyway,
Yeah,
we're
he
not
just
on
feeds him to his bears, probably.
Hey, we're not on about Putin.
Yeah. Sorry, Mike. Go back to
All right.
what you were talking about.
Bernie Muhammadov graduated from the Turkmen State Medical Institute in 1979.
So he's a doctor.
Yeah, entered a career in dentistry. He was
Oh,
a
so
dentist.
that's why he's not a doctor then.
Yeah.
Lousy cheap dentists.
He also received a PhD in medical sciences in Moscow.
Yeah, he's a clever guy.
Possibly, unless, you know.
Well, no, let's assume that he's been to university.
What
He's
sort
got a
of
doctor.
class does he come from? Is he quite wealthy? Did he come from quite a wealthy background?
That I don't know, actually.
See, a lot of them tend not to.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't speak for Putin, but like Stalin was a fucking peasant.
Hmm.
You know, he just had the wits about him, but he was a peasant.
It's crazy how they come to power like that, and then all of a sudden they go, "You know what? I like this life. I'm going to take this life and keep it, and make sure everyone else gets nothing."
Yeah. All right, then, Michael. Sorry.
Okay, by 1992, he'd become part of the dentistry faculty at the Medical Institute. In 1995, during the rule of Saparmurat Niyazov, he became head of the dentistry center for the Ministry of Health and Medical Industry. He was appointed to the government as Minister of Health in 1997 and was additionally appointed as Deputy Chairman of the Cabinet of Ministers, also referred to as Deputy Prime Minister, a post akin to that of a Vice President in 2001.
So that's 19 years ago then. How long has he
Yep.
been in charge for?
Well, I'm getting to that now. Following the Prime Minister Niyazkov's death in December 2006, the State Security Council of Turkmenistan appointed him as acting president. So 2006.
Right, so he's been in since 2006 as an acting president.
Doesn't that mean he's supposed to just hold the place until the new president is
Yeah.
elected?
Then he became president after.
Was he elected, or did he just hold it indefinitely?
Well, they had a election, and he got 89% of the vote.
Oh, okay. Who ran against him?
No one.
Well, he was supported by the political elite, so probably nobody.
This
One of them little puppies he came with.
this puppy's going to run against
Oh no,
him.
you don't put a puppy because it'd win.
You just scoop. It's like, this is the puppy that's running against you. Just scoops up, fine, I'll get rid of it. Just gives it to Putin.
Throws it in a fire, probably.
Yeah, probably.
I'll start with the good stuff that he did.
Yeah.
Okay, he
Is that because there's less?
yeah.
Shouldn't you give me the bad stuff first?
No, let's start with the good.
Yeah.
Feel like it should be there to just sort of ease the sting at the end.
He opened internet cafes offering free web access.
That's good.
Yeah. Compulsory education was extended from 9 to 10.
That's good.
Well,
Good.
It's not great.
Not brilliant,
It's not
but it's a
great.
bit better.
but I'm just trying to imagine an internet cafe in Turkmenistan. I'm just got visions of hairy Turkmenistani farmers jacking off to Pornhub in an internet cafe.
Horse porn.
Horse porn.
They do love the
porn hub.
horses.
Sorry, Turkmenistanis. Just thinking of Borat.
He accidentally shares his search history to everyone when he hooks it up. He's like, oh no, crap! Close it.
He called for the reform of education, healthcare, and pension systems, and government officials of non-Turkmen ethnic origin who had been sacked by the former president were allowed to return to work. He also restored the pensions of 100,000 elderly people whose pensions the other one had slashed in the face of a budget crisis.
Oh, so hey, we've got a bit of a budgetary problem. Cut the pensions.
It doesn't sound like too bad of a guy, though, to be fair. It sounds like the guy that was in charge before was worse.
Yeah. Seems like a bit of a dick the dude
Yeah.
before.
He later on he reopened the Turkmen Academy of Sciences, which again had been closed by his predecessor.
Fucking hell.
We should do one on his predecessor. Guy doesn't even like science.
Well, neither this guy, funny enough. Later
Oh,
on.
okay. Well, that's my point, Don.
In February 2017, he was re-elected to a third term with nearly 98% of the votes.
I'm sorry, no one gets 98% of a vote. I'm sorry, no. Unless, of course, they're just all too scared. Do you think he's just got soldiers there at the voting booths and they're like, who are you voting for? And like, the president
I
can
bet he-
carry on.
I bet he didn't even have an opponent. This time they were just like, this is your opponent, it's a balloon. It was just like a one balloon just floating. And 2% were like, you know what? I like that balloon.
I like the cut of its gym.
Your opponent is a blood-splattered wall over there.
Yeah, with bullet holes
Yeah.
in it. And oh, look, some corpses at the bottom.
Yeah. What are you voting for?
Well, the president, you know, he's got a lot of valid points, but that wall has got some impressive bullet holes.
Okay, here comes the bad stuff.
This is going to be a longer list, isn't it?
According to international observers, he now leads one of the most oppressive and closed regimes in the world.
No, it's not good.
Freedom House has consistently placed Turkmenistan near the bottom of its freedom in the world rankings since he took office. In 2017, the country was one of 11 with the lowest aggregate scores for political and civil rights.
Right, so I'm also going to guess freedom of the press isn't a big thing.
Oh,
No, you
all
suppress
state
that
controlled.
straight away.
All
Yeah.
state-controlled media.
Oh, like Britain.
And America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Human Rights Watch noted that Bernie Mohammadov not only has complete control of a public life, but presides over a regime that does not tolerate alternative political or religious expression and has complete control of the media.
I'm going to guess he's also not too fond of LGBTQ trans rights and all that then either.
That probably doesn't exist over there.
No, but he doesn't. No.
Not in society. so to
Lesbians,
speak.
he's okay with.
Really?
Yeah,
Is he really?
Yep,
Wow.
just
Wow.
gay man.
Wow. Well, I suppose the Bible doesn't mention lesbians.
So now we definitely know what his porn searches are.
Yeah. Lesbian horses.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, so I'm guessing then that basically, unless you toe the line,
You die.
you're taken off to some kind of re-education sort of area, or just
I
shot.
think he misses that bit. I think he just disappeared indefinitely.
Because I mean, there's no human rights, so
Yeah.
or very little human rights. I presume you have a human right to.
I would imagine the justice system is basically you turn up, they tell you guilty, and you're dead, regardless of what happened. That's it. Prisons are probably empty.
Yeah, that might be true. Then again,
There are prisons, but torture's common.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Would you want to be in a Turkmenistani prison?
No.
I'm just trying to visualize it, and I'm just visualizing straw and shit on the floor.
Yeah, it's not gonna
with
be
the
good.
blood of the predecessor who was in the cell before you. Probably stuff smeared up the wall.
Yeah.
Unidentifiable stuff smeared up the wall. Could be blood, could be shit, could be puke, could be piss, who knows?
It's fine, man. I'll just go in and gentrify it.
One guy.
You're gonna put a little wingback
gentrifying the
chair in the corner.
I'm a millennial, that's what we do. I just walk in and be like, oh, I feel like there's loads we can do with this space. I'll just move that pile of human corpses into the
I'll
corner.
put my poo bucket in the middle.
Just chuck some potpourri on it. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Potpourri, the biggest scam ever.
It is, yeah.
Sorry, go on, Mike.
Carry on.
Well, one guy was in prison 4 years for carrying a Bible.
Wow.
What religion are they?
Well, they're mostly Muslim, but they still apparently repress all religious groups, including Muslims, for some reason. So,
Wow.
Okay, so he's carrying a Bible.
especially doesn't like Jehovah's Witnesses,
Well,
Hare
who does?
Krishnas. Yeah.
You've been woken up one too many times.
I have, yeah. Usually when I'm on fucking nights. Can I talk to you about God? Can I talk to you about my lack of fucking sleep? So you get fucking pissed off
Have you ever
first.
said yes?
No. I usually say hail Satan.
Do you really?
Answer the door naked. Covered in blood.
Covered in blood. Just like, oh, gotta get the jar of blood out.
Yeah, don't ask me where I got
This
it.
is such a pain to get back in the jar.
Don't ask me where I get it. I bathe in it. That's why I'm so youthful.
You are pretty useful for a 45-year-old man.
Considering I'm 37.
Oh, okay, never mind.
All
Carry
mass
on, Mike.
media in Turkmenistan is controlled by the state, and journalists have frequently received death threats
Wow.
and been kept in prison and prosecuted with false accusations and unfair trials.
Well, it's only unfair if you're the person who's being found guilty, isn't it? Let's face it.
The internet is heavily regulated and available only to a small fraction of the population.
But what about the cafes?
Well, they're still regulated.
Oh man, so it's more of an intranet at this
Yeah.
point.
So who gets to use them then if they put them up and then only a small member of the small amount of the population? Who gets
Probably
to
government
use them?
officials
Oh,
and
okay.
things like that.
So why give them calves then? You can have a
Oh, you can go on it, but normal people can go on it, but
Yeah.
it's on the Turkmenistan
Oh,
internet.
okay. Yeah.
Oh, so you only get access to the proper internet if
Yeah.
you're a government official where you go, let's not have our general sort of populist tweeting about how shit it is here.
Mm.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
all social networks are banned. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter can't access it.
I like the place already.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. To be fair.
I'm also in favour of this lack of religion.
Mm.
Well, no, they're still religious, just one religion.
Yeah, but they even persecute their own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, I haven't got one. Does that put me? You know, it's a valid point.
Well, any opposition to the government is considered treasonous and punishable by life imprisonment.
Wow.
Oof. I bet that's breaking rocks somewhere, isn't it? It's
Mm.
got to be.
Oh, you have to be.
Or mining coal or uranium or something.
Uranium.
Who knows, man? If they've got a resource like that, then the Russians are friends with them.
Mm,
It's like, yeah, you give us some nuclear material, we'll give you some free gas.
it's true.
You know?
Turkmenistan has been condemned for alleged torture, arbitrary arrests and detentions, involuntary confinement, imprisonment of political prisoners, severe corruption, lack of free and fair elections, and restrictions on freedom of religion, assembly, and movement. It's also a source for women subjected to human trafficking,
Oh, wow.
Oh, great.
specifically forced prostitution, and for men in forced labour.
Well, so they allow prostitution. They encourage and even force prostitution. Wow. That's not cool.
No. No, the whole human trafficking thing as well.
This suddenly took a dark turn.
It
I
did.
can't believe this is the same guy I was watching lift a golden barbell above his head.
Yeah.
I thought, wow, he looks alright. Trying to get swole, that's fine.
He can lift 20 kg.
Yeah. It's
Mate.
not bad.
Male homosexuality is illegal and is punished by imprisonment for up to 2 years.
Well, that's not so bad.
Depends what's happening during those 2 years.
Yeah.
The country's economy is under total state control. By decree of Berdi Mohamedov in January 2019, the government will gradually end state funding of the Academy of Sciences that he brought back.
Oh, no.
Man,
Why did he bring them back then? Look what I did for you all.
Yeah, look, we have an Academy of Science.
Yeah.
Not anymore. What Academy of Science? I never had an Academy of Science. Don't talk about it. You're in jail.
Well, they still have it. There's just no money there.
They just take sign down.
Or people working there. It's just a sign that says welcome. You walk in, it's just an empty room.
No, there's a sign that says welcome, and you find out it's actually now a jail.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Okay, this is about him personally and stuff he's done.
Well, we know he likes to get jacked anyway.
Jack Dish.
Ish, yeah.
In 2011, he sang a song on a video posted to YouTube.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Try to be a rapper.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was about the how Turkmenistani youth should get out there and like sports. I mean, that's a
Oh, that was later on in 2018. That
Oh.
was, yeah, with his grandson, he was rapping, wasn't he?
fair enough. I don't see a problem with that. Trying to encourage the youth into sports. What's the
Yeah.
problem?
Yeah.
Got a strong youth for Turkmenistan.
I'm starting to like him again already.
He's got a golden bar,
Yeah.
you know,
Golden Gains.
golden gains.
Yeah, can't go wrong with that.
In 2013, he fell off his horse during a race.
I saw that as well. There's the horse.
The horse was fine. The fall was censored on TV but leaked online.
I wonder
Yeah,
if he had the horse executed afterwards.
possibly. It's a week. I watched the
Throws
fall.
him in jail.
I watched the fall, and it wasn't actually because he's quite meant to be quite a good horseman, isn't he? He's quite proud
Yeah.
of his horsemanship skills. And I did watch that clip, and it's like the horse literally just goes down, just falls flat on its fucking face, and he goes over the top of it. So it's hardly like he fell off and got dragged along, being bounced to it, like this, you know, it's like something like a comedy film. You know, he just falls off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
it was
horse
sign
is
of
getting-
weakness, though, isn't it? You
That
can't
horse
allow
is
that.
getting 20 years for sure.
That horse is
Oh,
having its fucking legs broke.
Yeah.
You'll never run again.
Yeah, that's what you're right though. Like that's what it's all about, isn't it? You're not allowed to show any weakness. It's always like that solid power.
Yeah.
It's an illusion, isn't it?
Yeah.
In 2015, a golden statue of him riding a horse atop a white marble cliff was erected in Ashgabat.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah. See, I like that. I do that.
That's what I'd want.
That'd be the first thing I'd do.
I come to power, golden statue on me. Take down that one of Churchill, put me
Yeah.
on its plinth.
People have to spray it with oil every couple of days so
Do
it
they-
gleams.
Do they have to go to rub it?
Yeah.
Rub your abs.
Rub the abs.
Rub the golden abs.
Spray it with oil, then rub them. That's how we keep it clean.
There's like
The golden statue.
some kind of laser defense system around it, just
Yeah.
stop pigeon shit landing on
Yeah.
it.
And to shoot the pigeons down.
Oh,
Mm.
well, they are feathered rats.
In January 2018, he ordered the impounding of black cars in the capital because he considered the colour white to be lucky.
That's
Hence
like
black unlucky, I guess.
that's like that guy in Burma who they used to drive on the left hand side like in Britain, right? So all the cars are set up with a steering wheel on the right, right? All the buses exited to the left, and then he thought, my country is slipping too far to the left. This guy was also a dictator. I'm going to change that by making everybody drive on the right. So now when you get off the bus in Burma, you're stepping into fucking traffic.
That's hilarious.
All the cars are wrong for the signs that you're
Yeah.
driving on the right hand, your steering wheel's on the right, you're driving on the right, so no one can overtake anybody, or they can't, they're going to rely on the passenger. You know, it's like, that guy was also, you know, driven by his dreams and astrologers. So when you go down the dreams and astrologers route as a dictator, I think you're in a whole new area of losing the plot.
It's like madness then, isn't
Yeah.
it? Basically.
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna.
That's when you're delving into
yeah.
mad dictator.
It's like, well, Venus is in the 4th quadrant, so probably going to be a communist coup this month.
I
Kill
think-
everybody.
I think you stop being a ruthless dictator and start being a mad dictator at that point.
Exactly,
It
yeah.
depends who your what's it called, astrologist is.
But it's Mystic Meg. Nothing's going to happen. Is
Yeah.
it?
But if it's a bit of a deviant cunt, then he'll get him to do what he wants, won't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You could control him doing
Yeah.
that.
Mystic, he's got pictures of him reading the Sun. Oh well, Pisces doesn't look too good today. Kill him. Oh fucking hell!
In 2019, he was awarded the highest award of the International Cycling Union for his country's commitment to the sport.
Well, that's something.
That's something.
He likes his fitness.
He does.
He keeps winning me over with that. I can forgive everything else.
The Tour de Turkmenistan. I can't wait for that cycling highlight.
And he loves cycling while shooting, doesn't he, Ben?
He does.
Yeah.
I like.
He's just bringing in two things he loves:
That's it.
Yeah.
shooting and killing people, and then cycling.
I saw him throwing knives into a target, and he was actually quite good.
Yeah.
He was hitting it in the centre mass. He got a headshot. Then he's cycling along. I mean, slowly cycling along, but cycling nonetheless. And he's putting in a nice double tap to the torso.
Wasn't cycling very fast though, was he?
Well, no, but it's, he's getting on a bit.
Mike's like, cycle faster.
Do it faster. Be impressed.
They would have sped it up a bit on the video. So
Yeah. It's not Benny Hill. He's chasing some scantily clad women in out of doors.
Apparently, he only drinks Coke Classic from small glass bottles.
Wow. So he's a diabetic then.
Every few months, a government official from the president's office comes to the plant and selects a random case of bottles of Coke for the president's own consumption for his guests. Coke Classic represents 60% of sales in Turkmenistan.
So his country's being funded by Coca-Cola then?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
so Coke Classic is the red full-fat Coke.
Yeah, and he's a dentist.
God.
The irony on that. I didn't even think about that. Well spotted there. He's like, right, everyone, we should drink Coca-Cola.
Yeah. Thank you for my...
It's good for your tea, honest.
Holidays are coming. Holidays are coming. He's just, look at this a shitty rip-off Coca-Cola van coming into town with him driving it. One of those old Russian Jeep, one of those old Russian trucks that's just to break down. Going
Shooting Jehovah's Witnesses as he goes
Yeah.
back.
Well, that's why he's been practicing on the cycle.
Yeah. Do you think the main event?
It's made for Christmas. Gonna have the running of the Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah.
And chase them to the streets in his Coke van, shooting at them, throwing out Coke. In all fairness, though, Coke has a lot of sway. I mean, Santa used to wear green and white until Coke got hold of him.
Changed it to red, yeah.
Satan used to be green until Coke got hold of him.
Yeah.
That's true.
Did he?
No.
No.
No, I didn't think
He did used to be green in the Middle Ages.
Ah.
Satan. He only went red later on.
He's a lizard.
I
It's
just,
Pindar.
I just assumed no, he's not. He's a friend of the show.
What, Pindar?
No, Satan. No, it's just that Satan took a lucrative advertising offer from Coca-Cola. Got to fund hell somehow.
Do you think he's just like got his full suit on, and then when he turns around, he's just got a big Coca-Cola badge on the back of his really
Yes, I
smart
do.
suit?
I also think that this guy, I can't remember, pronounce his name for me, somebody.
Gurbanguly Bernie Mohamedov.
That's him.
That guy.
Just sounds like Gooban Girly, Goober, Burmy, McCarvanob. I bet he's like ends every state broadcast with drink Coke.
Yeah. He just goes. And then walks out.
Beat that refreshing taste. Actually, so have they got a? I'm assuming that Coca-Cola has a bottling plant in Turkmenistan.
They have to. They have
Do you
to.
think they're making it the old-fashioned way with the cocaine?
Explain a few things, wouldn't
We
it?
would.
Well, apparently, when rumours of his death were circulated by opponents, the state TV released a 25-minute video of him bowling, working out with his friends, and doing donuts in a sports car around a fire pit.
He was nowhere near that fire pit.
He was doing. Let's paint a visual picture for the listener. You had this. What looked like a fucking asteroid crater.
Yeah, it
on
didn't look like
fire.
a fire pit, did it?
It was the biggest fire pit I've ever fucking seen in my life.
Imagine that in the garden. Having a couple of beers, just fall into,
Yeah, we probably don't
fall
get-
into hell.
It did look like a portal to hell.
It did, didn't it? Just like,
I was just looking at it thinking, my God, there's a meteorite crash.
Yeah.
It's just on, and he's like got this souped up 4x4.
Yeah.
And when it says he's doing donuts around it, well, he's not. He's just doing donuts at the side of it.
It couldn't, because if he got close to it, it'd melt his car.
Yeah.
The heat coming off of that.
Fucking hell, yeah. I mean, I particularly enjoyed that. Because nothing says I'm alive driving a car, donut in a car around a massive fire
I
pit.
like how it's like he's working out with his friends and he's just like on an exercise ball with like 2 kilo dumbbells doing a chest press.
He's getting on a bit. Come on.
It's like I think they were doing like a weekend in Bernie's because his friend was above him like this.
You think he's worked with strings?
Yeah, his friend was above him, spotting him with those 2 kilos. It's like he was there with strings pulling his
maybe.
arms. Just drop him on that exercise ball. We'll make it look like he's working out.
Put some sunglasses on him and a cigarette in his mouth. Then no one will ever figure
You
it out.
can't see his face. He's got a hat on.
Oh man. Ugh.
And this guy loves horses.
Yeah.
His favourite horse is the Akhal-Teki, which is a Turkmen horse breed. They have a reputation for speed and endurance, intelligence, and a distinctive metallic sheen.
Just like him.
The shiny coat of the breed led to their nickname Golden Horses. These horses are adapted to severe climatic conditions and are thought to be one of the oldest existing horse breeds.
Just like him.
He writes a lot of books about horses.
I noticed there was one on Amazon that was
Yeah.
translated into English.
Does he force his people to buy them?
Probably.
Probably.
It's probably like state education.
Yeah.
You learn about horse now.
Yeah. The titles of these books are A Symbol of Faithfulness and Happiness, The Flight of the Celestial Racehorses.
Wow, that's all I want to read when I'm high. Flight of the Celestial Racehorses. I think, whoa, man.
And Akhal-Teki, Our Pride and Glory. An excerpt from the latter witnesses never wearied from being astonished by the steed and human intercourse brought to full perfection. It's a bit dodgy, isn't it?
Human, that's got to be a translation error.
No, I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I think he read it right.
I think he likes fucking horses.
Yeah.
He awarded himself the title of the People's Horse Breeder,
Yeah.
Wow.
made it illegal to change an Akhal-Teki's name throughout the course of its life, and ordered beauty contests for horses.
Yeah, he's got a thing for horses, hasn't he? This goes beyond any teenage girl's pony fantasy.
Yeah.
This is,
I reckon he
he
spends about 6 months just traveling all around, doing all of these competitions. Like, yeah, that's the hottest one. That one's coming home with me tonight. And then he's like, right, off to the next one.
He's like the Trump of the horse beauty pageants.
Oh, you think he walks in while they're all getting changed?
He owns 600 Akhal-Tekis,
Oh man, that's practically a harem at this point.
10% of the world's total.
Fuck me.
Wow.
And he wrote a poem about his latest horse and read it on national television. Do you want to hear it?
Go on then.
You are the worship and memorabilia of ancestors. You are the passage of the past into tomorrow. Your neighing is the melody of heavens. You are the anthem of my heart.
That's a love letter. That,
I am literally choking up here right now.
Yeah,
That's
that was beautiful. Yeah. He's gonna marry that horse.
My lovely horse
Mike nearly
running
choked on
through
his
the field. Where are you going with your fetlocks blowing in the wind?
In the wind.
Hang on, I can get this. Think. Okay, so let's do my pick then. Idi Amin, the butcher of Uganda.
That's a pretty cool name.
It's not bad, is it?
Yeah, probably not good how he got the name though.
No.
Does sound
I don't think he
cool.
worked with pig carcasses. Or...
No.
No, I don't think it was the family trade.
No.
Idi Amin, Major General, a Field Marshal, Idi Amin, and Pig Butcher.
Family butcher.
Family butchers.
You only really get that name 2 ways, don't you?
Yeah.
If you're not a butcher.
If it's not your trade, then there's only one other way.
He must have killed a lot of people.
Well, I'll tell you that in a second. He was known for his smile, and he did have a lovely smile.
Yeah. When I saw the picture of him, I was like, he seems like a nice guy. How wrong I was.
Yeah. But dictator Idi Amin ruled Uganda with an iron fist for 8 long years. Those who celebrated the general's military coup that overthrew President Milton Obote, and he was a bit of a twat as well, in all fairness.
Yeah.
We'll find out a little bit about him. In 1971, they had no idea how violent and tyrannical the next decade would be. By the end of his rule, Amin had ordered the killings of an estimated 300,000 people. Some estimates peg the number as high as 500,000. That's out of a population of 12 million.
Wow. That's where he gets the butcher from.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
It is. 12
How do you
million.
not get a civil war at that point?
Well, because he's in charge of the army and the police, and he showers them with exotic gifts, which I will get to.
Anyone that does want to start anything, no mercy in it.
Yeah.
In fact, they'll probably get you before you start anything. You only have to be sort of, known to be associated with a member or something, and they'll probably get you, won't they?
That's true.
Yeah. And remember, there is no political opposition.
That's it.
He has
Knock 'em all
absolute
out, yeah.
rule. I mean, at least old Turkmenistan bloke's got a parliament. If only in name he's got a parliament.
It's for show, though, isn't it?
It's for sure, but he didn't have one of them.
No.
So Idi Amin born circa 1925. No one's quite sure of his exact birth date.
Didn't feel like sharing that.
No, probably not.
I suppose records in the 20s of Uganda was.
Well, no, I mean, it was a British colony at the
Yeah.
time, so I'd imagine they weren't too fussed about recording the natives' births.
Maybe he just didn't like getting older. Didn't like people knowing how old he was.
That's also possibly the vanity might be a thing to do with that.
Yeah.
He may never have revealed it. So he was basically a bit of a peasant, as most of these dictators are. As I said earlier, his father was a farmer. Mother obviously was just being the mother.
It would have been ironic if his father was a butcher.
Yeah.
That was
He would have known how to butcher a
Yeah.
pig. Or...
that was a grim joke, wasn't it?
So his parents separated when he was young, and then he and his mother moved to the city, and enrolled into a Muslim school, but he left shortly after, only ever reaching the 4th grade. Not the cleverest guy then. But he is 6'4" tall.
Wow.
And at the time, the British colonial powers thought that guy could be pretty handy in our army. So as he did, they basically tapped him up. He enlisted in the King's African Rifles. And he progressed in the ranks. He was quite good at it at this point. He was promoted from private to corporal in 1949. He won interestingly won the Ugandan light heavyweight boxing championship in 1951 and held the title for 9 years.
Wow.
Jeez.
Hard bastard, huh?
Yeah.
A lot of them seem to be.
Yeah.
One guy can throw like knives and shoot while he's on a bicycle.
Yeah. If you have, he can beat you to a pulp with his bare fists.
Putin riding on bears.
Yeah.
For fun.
This is a problem when dictators used to be soldiers,
Yeah.
and they know what the best thing they can do is kill.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They're going to transfer them skills.
They know how to instill that fear
Yeah.
and death
True.
to keep you in line.
Doesn't tend to end well when
No.
you have a military takeover, is it?
No, it doesn't really. I can't think of one that's ever worked out, or at least come to a bloody end.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd argue that Libya wasn't that bad under Gaddafi. I mean, it was a reasonably wealthy country.
It's only because look at it now.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying it was a barrel of laughs to live
Yeah.
there, but it was a reasonably wealthy country because they had the oil and...
Yeah, but I imagine that was only going to the select few of the population.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, well, distribution wouldn't have been good, would it?
No. Well, someone's got to keep Gaddafi and all them epaulets. So, although Amin would later use anti-imperialist sentiment to inspire public support, in the early 50s he was completely different. He was all about keeping the British in control. He actually went to war. He fought against the Mau Mau African freedom fighters in Kenya. He fought against rebel fighters in Somalia. And he began to garner a reputation as a ruthless soldier. In 1957, he was promoted to Sergeant Major and commanded his own platoon. 2 years later, he was given the rank of Effendi, which is the highest rank available to native-born soldiers in Uganda, roughly about lieutenant. So he's just about on the officer ladder, but they're not going to let the British Army at the time, he's not going to let a black guy command a battalion, is it? It's not going to happen.
I just like how people at large must have looked at this guy and be like, this guy's one of the most ruthless guys in the British Army. He'd be a good idea to rule our country.
Well,
he's known as a ruthless murderer. Let's put him in charge.
Oh, it's funny you should say that. I'm going to get to that in a minute. I'm just going to show you two guys a picture and you can find it, listener. If you, I'm sure it won't be too hard to find if you type in Idi Amin dancing. There he is having a dance with the Israeli Prime Minister's wife. Look at him go.
He's having a good time.
Yeah. A great smile. Look at his smile. It's awesome.
What went wrong then? He went from being a nice guy, bit of a ruthless military guy, but he seemed to get on with people. He worked in the army for the British. What made him all of a sudden flip?
Trappings of power, isn't it? You get paranoid. You
Yeah.
You don't want to lose your position.
Well, there's also another theory as to why he's certainly degenerated
Yeah, it
fairly
just seems
quickly.
like he just all of a sudden flipped and he just went, you know what, actually, I don't want to.
Is it syphilis?
Yes,
Aye!
but I will get to
Nice
that
guess.
at the end.
Well, you think it attacked his mind?
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
Yeah.
it basically gives you dementia, gives you was it grandiose? What's it called? Feelings of grandioseness. Thing, you
Yeah.
know. It makes you live in this dream world, basically.
You got syphilis.
I was gonna say, it sounded like up until a point he was in the British Army. He was a nice guy, a bit of a badass, but you need that. And then all of a sudden he's gone crazy and he's killing everyone. And
Well, yeah, I mean, so in 1962,
guessing
funny enough, I'm leading right on to something that proves your point.
yeah, I'm guessing he also didn't want the British involved at that point when he took over.
Oh, no, he was well. No. When he got to be in charge,
He
no, he was
cut
very
communication
anti-British,
completely.
anti-British.
Yeah.
But while he's working for him, he's quite happy to help his colonial masters keep control of Uganda, Kenya, and Somalia because he's got power, hasn't he? He's got as much power as a black guy can have in the country this time. Let's face it. He might be only a lieutenant, but hey, that's as high as he can go.
Yeah.
Now, in 1962, after a simple assignment to root out cattle stealers, it was reported that Amin and his men had committed brutal atrocities. The British authorities in Nairobi exhumed the bodies and found the victims had been tortured and beaten to death, and some had been buried alive.
Oh,
Since
this is where he starts going a bit bad.
Yeah. Since Amin was one of only 2 high-ranking African officers, and Uganda was nearing its October the 9th, 1962 Independence Day from Britain, Abute, who was the president, and the British officials decided not to prosecute him. Instead, they promoted him and sent him to the UK for further military training.
Hey, sounds about right. A corrupt political elite.
Wonder what the mindset behind that was.
Mm.
You know what? We're not going to punish you. We're just going to give you a slap on the wrist, and while you're at it, you're promoted.
So Amin comes back, and Abute, the prime minister, like, right, you are my top guy. You're my right-hand man. I'm going to give you command of the army and the police.
That's not a good idea.
No.
Because you are, in my opinion, the best qualified man and soldier for the job.
The biggest psycho.
If I was a ruthless dictator, and I don't know who the guy was before, the last thing I'm going to do is give any kind of power to another guy that's a little bit crazy.
Well,
I'm going to give you all the men with guns.
Yeah.
Well,
Now make sure you do everything I say. And you'd be like, well, no, because I've got all the guns.
You won't be able to control that person.
Yeah.
don't you?
yeah, you do.
You
yeah.
have to be able to control that person.
Yeah, there's no point you being the prime minister and your number 2 having complete
Control.
loyalty of the army,
Yeah.
literally to the point where they would die for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but at the start, it's a very pally-pally relationship. Abute promotes him to major in 63, colonel in 64, but then in 1966, it all does start to go a bit wrong, possibly because of his lack of intelligence rather than, let's say, any sort of degenerative brain disease or...
Is this when they start thinking he might have syphilis?
No. It's a bit late. I'll tell you at the end. Don't worry.
Okay.
So the Ugandan parliament charges him with misappropriating $350,000 worth of gold and ivory from guerrillas in the Congo that he was supposed to supply with arms. In response, Amin's forces arrested the 5 ministers who raised the issue, and Abute suspended the constitution, appointing himself the president. So now at this point, this Abute's gone, right, well, I'm just going to take over properly now. No parliament, no democracy. I am president, El Presidente for life.
The shock doctrine.
What happened to the other guy?
I mean,
Yeah.
at the minute, he's still quite happy to be number 2 because he's behaved badly. He's pocketed the $350,000 worth of gold and ivory he was supposed to give to some Congolese rebels in exchange, or he was supposed to get from the Congolese rebels for some guns.
Oh, so he kept him around then?
Oh,
He's
yeah.
a bit of a friend.
Yeah, well, at the same time, if your followers are going to go and arrest and presumably shoot the 5 guys who accused you of that and want to bring you to trial, then I'd imagine Abute's probably gone, I think we just need to go full dictatorship now.
Yeah.
You're still my number
Excuse,
2,
isn't it? Yeah.
but I'm the president. You're my number 2. So there was actually a king in Uganda, and he just sort of did a runner as soon as this went on. He kind of co-ruled, but he was more of a figurehead. He was consulted, would be the better way. And he just went, fuck this, I'm out of here.
I think you just behave, wouldn't you? You just take the money and the women and just behave and hope they don't notice that you're still there.
And the fact that he sent tanks to attack the palace.
Oh,
where
right,
the king
yeah.
was living. I mean, because 2 days after Abute became president, Amin got put in charge of the entire military and police force. So, yeah.
I don't want the king hanging about, do they?
No. Amin ultimately seized control of the military coup on January 25th, 1971, while Abute was flying back from a conference in Singapore.
Also, he made a move then.
Yeah.
Not good to do that.
And he wouldn't return to the country until after Amin's reign. So they really liked him when he first came in. They were really enthusiastic because he wasn't just a military leader. He was a genuinely charismatic man of the people.
Sounds like that was like the most toxic friendship ever. They just kept trying to steal the power from each other. It's like, oh, he's on holiday. Let's steal it from him.
That's why.
You come back, you're like, oh, did you try and steal my power again?
Oh, you scam.
You scam. Get back over there, number 2.
Get back on your mark.
Yeah. Oh, I caught you this time.
Next time, more. People dancing in the streets when Amin was brought in.
Yeah.
You know, they loved him because he's this happy, smiling, charismatic guy. He's Ugandan through and through, isn't he? He's part of one of the ruling tribe. He might have been poor, but he was part of it. You know, it seemed like, he wasted no opportunity to shake hands. He posed for pictures. He danced the traditional dances with the commoners. His informal personality made it seem like he really cared about the country. Even his multiple marriages helped. He had at least 6 wives.
See, now you're selling it to me.
And a minimum of 30 mistresses around the country.
Seems like a really nice guy.
Yeah. Even, ironically, the king who fled died in exile, and he boosted his own popularity by allowing the king to come back to be buried. He brought his body back to be buried in Uganda. And everyone went, wow, he's nice.
Why didn't he let him come back before he died?
Yeah. Well, you don't want the king coming back if you seize power.
That's true.
When he's dead, it's fine.
Yeah. He also abolished the secret police.
Okay, it's good.
And he granted amnesty to political prisoners. So at this point, he's like, wow, this guy's quite benevolent. However, in the shadows, he was busy creating his own killer squads.
Oh,
and these guys were tasked with killing soldiers suspected of being loyal to Abute.
Oh, here we go.
They reckon about 5,000 to 6,000 soldiers.
Wow.
Bit of a purge. You need a bit of a purge when you dictate.
When you come to power,
how is there even any people left in that country? How is there anybody left?
I think the purge is necessary when you come to power because you go, anyone loyal to the old regime, take them out.
That's what's going to happen if Ben gets elected.
I didn't say that.
Implement the purge.
Implement Order 66. That'll be the cue. That'll be ace.
You suddenly walk in like a black trench coat.
Well, maybe stay away from the trench coaty vibe.
With skulls on it.
Yeah, yeah. That little runic symbol on the collar. No, no. No, better stay clear of that whole image. Although it didn't do Prince Harry any favours.
It's a hard look to pull off, though, to be fair.
Well, my Aryan looks, I'm sure I'll manage it. Right, so to some, it quickly became apparent that Armin's man of the people persona was no more than a front to hide his true inclinations. He was ruthless, vindictive. Oh, I can never say that word. Vindictive, boom, and used his military clout to further his goals. His inability to deal with political matters in a civil manner was further highlighted in 1972 when he asked Israel for money and arms to help fight Tanzania. When Israel refused his request, he turned to Muammar Gaddafi, who was in charge of Libya, and he got all the guns he wanted. He then ordered the expulsion of 500 Israelis. So it's like, you want to deal with me? Get out of the fucking country.
And now there's no one left in the country.
He then ordered...
They just keep clearing out more and more people.
And then he ordered 50,000 South Asians with British citizenship to leave the country. Wow. These were Indian families who come over to Uganda to basically own businesses, and they were kind of like the merchant class, effectively, of Uganda. So
why would you go over there?
It's a British colony. You've got a British passport. Remember, you're part of you're in India.
I also know that hundreds of thousands of people are dying over there.
No, because at this point,
probably famines in India. To be fair, at that point, isn't it?
Oh yes, that's a valid point.
That's true.
But actually, no, this is the 70s, so 72. No, yeah. But these guys would have been there for a long time. These guys, they might have British passports, but they could be second or third generation.
Yeah.
You know, they are.
That's what I meant. A lot of famines in India in the 1800s.
That's it. And these guys are the merchant class. They're wealthy. So guess what? He's obviously took the money too, hasn't he? But at least he's expelled them. That's just, in all fairness.
I'd want to go. To be fair, I wouldn't want to stay.
I imagine that he mopped up the ones that didn't want to go.
Yeah. That's why you'd want to go.
Yeah. So, because like Uganda's Asian population is like the successful plantation and business owners. So, guess what happened to the economy after he'd expelled them all? Yeah.
You've got none of the middle class left. You've essentially got rid of them all.
Yep, all the people that are making money for the country, out the window. Obviously, that didn't do him very well on the international stages. He didn't seem to care. Usually, 'cause Uganda was what he cared about, or certainly his image in Uganda. So, by the mid-70s, the Ugandan dictator grew increasingly erratic, repressive, and corrupt. He routinely changed his personnel, so he's changing people around him because he doesn't trust them. He altered his travel schedules and modes of transportation, and slept in different places whenever he could. So that is definitely paranoia coming in. Although changing your travel schedules and modes of transportation is actually a really good idea if you don't want to get assassinated. So he's sleeping in different places. But at this point, he is literally in charge of the country, and most people in the country think he's an okay dude at this point.
I'd want at least 2 or 3 doubles.
Oh, they all want doubles, yeah.
You know what I mean?
See, to keep
Imagine that as a job.
Oh man, I bet you get paid really well.
You'd have to. What's your job? I'm a double.
No, you can't tell you you're a double. I'm the president.
This is a double. The other one's over there. Get him.
Yeah, because if you're the double and you convince the would-be assassins that guy over there is actually the president,
Take over.
You can take over.
Good way of falling under the radar, though. You could just go to the bar and be like, "Yeah, I'm the president's double," and actually be the president. Just sit down and have a couple of beers.
You could probably take out the president maybe when he's alone. Snap his neck.
I bet you're never alone with him.
Yeah.
I bet Idi Amin never even. Well, he would have got guards on the door, but I don't. And obviously, one of his 6 wives in bed with him,
Or all 6 of them.
or all 6 of them. Maybe some mistresses too.
I bet their doubles are trying to get in on the wires, aren't they?
Oh yeah, that's why I had 6.
Yeah.
But we'll have 2 each.
He's exhausted.
Yeah.
He wants all of his friends to think he's a stallion.
Yeah, I'm tired tonight.
Tag
Send in the
him.
double.
Tag him.
So to keep his troops loyal, because this is the important part, if you're a dictator and you're in charge of the army, he showered them with expensive electronics, whiskey, promotions, and fast cars, and handed over businesses previously owned by the Asian population to his best supporters.
Wow.
But then again, he's now continuing to oversee the murder of an increasing number of his countrymen. Before it was just the purges.
Yeah.
Now it's ethnic, political, and financial grounds, tens of thousands. His rumours of murder became increasingly sadistic. Rumours spread that he kept human heads in his refrigerator. He reportedly ordered 4,000 disabled people to be thrown into the Nile to be torn apart by crocodiles.
Oh, Jesus.
Why?
That's horrific.
He's got a flair for dramatic, I guess.
No, why did he kill them?
Oh,
Not why did he kill them dramatically.
probably for his own amusement, or just maybe the ethnic grounds.
I like that's what you went to. you went like, oh no, that's awful. So many people being killed for no reason. You were just like, I guess he just likes drama.
He has a flair for the dramatic.
Yeah.
People complain in this country about like the Atos and all that. You have to go and check your health to see if you're not trying to scam the government.
Yeah, and Atos is, for any foreign listeners, it's basically you go to an interview with a civil servant and they decide if you're well enough to work or not.
I mean, people complain about that in this country. Imagine, like, in that country, you fail, you're in the Nile.
I've got no legs. You can still pull a plough with a rope in your teeth and drag yourself along into the Nile. Shirker.
Wow.
Also, he confessed to cannibalism on several occasions.
I'm not surprised at this point.
Quote, I have eaten human meat, he said in 1976. It is very salty, even more salty than leopard meat. I think someone's probably made, something culinary, get someone who could cook properly in here.
Like
Hannibal wouldn't
yeah.
know the meat was too salty.
Yeah.
He'd have sorted that.
Yeah, he would have cooked it right.
At this point, Amin is using the majority of national funds for the armed forces and his own personal expenses.
Of course he is.
Some attribute his cruelty to dizzying effects of absolute power, which I can also believe because he's not the smartest guy in the world, so he gets all this power and he's just gone fucking nuts with it. But others believed his reign coincided with the late-stage syphilis. Apparently, in his early military days, he was charged with failing to treat an STD. And in the mid-1970s, an Israeli doctor who had served in Uganda told a Tel Aviv newspaper, "It's no secret that Amin is suffering from the advanced stages of syphilis, which has caused brain damage."
Does make you go mad.
Makes sense. Oh, his poor wives.
I'd imagine they were walking on fucking eggshells, weren't they? It's like just tiptoeing around him, hoping he wasn't going to notice them.
I bet they got fucking condoms on them at every point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
but
what
I
was
never
thinking.
thought of that.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
What about
Always
the
carry
kids?
pockets of
Can
condoms. Forget about anything.
it pass down to kids, that kind of thing? Some STDs can.
Some can.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
Can affect kids. During his brutal rule, the Organisation of African Unity elected Amin chairman in 1975, and then he's the Organisation of African Unity. So it's like what? It's like the UN for African countries. Let's all get together and start fighting, and try and make Africa great again, kind of thing. They nominate him the chairman.
Oh,
He's killing thousands of people. He's just thrown 4,000 wheelchair-bound people into the Nile.
He seems like the right guy to get the job done.
He seems like he'll unify us by hook or by crook.
And he crippled the economy
And
as
he's
well.
crippled the economy.
Why would you put him in charge? What's he going to do?
You could argue that there probably would have been quite a nationalist streak in large chunks of Africa at that point, especially Black Africa. I would say that by like South Africa was predominantly owned by white people.
Yeah.
These countries that are just getting their independence from the colonial powers are being run exclusively by their native people. So it's probably that nationalism. Well, look at him. He got them out. He got these people out. He made it for the Ugandans again. Maybe that's kind of something with it. However, and in 1977, the African nations blocked a UN resolution that would have held him accountable for human rights violations. But he did get promoted to field marshal by his own senior officers.
Oh,
that's nice.
Nice little touch.
It is.
Is that a reward for murdering all the disabled people?
Yeah, I don't know. It's maybe because they thought
one of the other atrocities.
During his reign, he made a big cock up in 1976 when he allowed Palestinian militants who'd hijacked an Air France flight from Tel Aviv to Paris to land in Uganda at a place called Entebbe. Because Israel had turned him down on that arms deal, he then became a strong critic of Israel. That's why he's allowing the Palestinians, and all the passengers on the plane were Jewish, or majority of them held Jewish passports. However, 246 passengers, 12 crew members. However, the Israeli commandos completely bossed the rescue operation, even going as far as to land. They flew from Israel to Uganda in 3 Hercules transport aircraft. First aircraft touches down, telling them in fluent Ugandan that the president's come to visit, and out rolls a black Mercedes limousine, exactly the same as Idi Amin's, rolls right up to the guards, and the guys in the back open the windows and gun them all down.
Wow.
And then the rest of the Israeli commandos come screaming off the things.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really badass, and we should go check it out as a thing. Ironically, because Uganda and Israel had such strong ties before Amin's rule, the Israelis knew the plans for the building without doing any reconnaissance because it'd been built by an Israeli firm. So it's like so it was a bit embarrassing for him, putting all his eggs in that basket. And so he ordered the execution of one of the hostages who hadn't been rescued because she was in hospital. A 74-year-old British Israeli woman was murdered, and they've never really identified the body.
Wow.
It was too burned.
Jeez.
So by the late 70s...
What's wrong with this guy, man? This is no good.
By the late 70s, Amin had ramped up his destructive methods even further. In 1977, he ordered the killings of notable Ugandans, such as the Archbishop, I'm not going to bother with names, I will try, Yanani Luwum, and Interior Minister Charles Obuti Afumbi. And then when the British severed all diplomatic ties with Uganda, he proclaimed himself the conqueror of the British Empire. And do you want his full title?
Go on. I bet it's magnificent. Isn't it?
This is fantastic. His Excellency, President for Life, Field Marshal, El Haji Dr. Idi Amin, VC, Victoria Cross, DSO, Distinguished Service Order, MC, Military Cross, CBE, Commander of the British Empire, Lord of all, those are the abbreviations.
Who gave him a CBE?
He's claiming he's got
I was
one.
going to say.
Lord of all the beasts of the earth and fishes of the sea, and conqueror of the British Empire in Africa in general, and Uganda in particular.
Fucking Aquaman as well.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Is he king of Atlantis?
I want to see him with a trident now in his field marshal
I was
gear.
literally thinking the same thing. Is he king of Atlantis?
Riding a killer whale.
I want to see him riding an orca. But his title couldn't save him from a deteriorating economy. Uganda's main export is coffee. It plummeted in the 70s, the price of coffee. The US, in 1978, the US, which accounted for 1/3 of all their coffee exports, just stopped trading with them altogether, mainly because of this Entebbe thing, allowing the Palestinians to land, sheltering them, and then killing one of the hostages who was in hospital.
Well, of course, the Americans wouldn't like that.
No.
It was a bit of a dick move, to be fair.
Yeah. Deteriorating economy and popular opposition to his rule growing, his hold on power was growing increasingly weak. By this point, many Ugandans had fled to the UK and other African countries, while many of his troops had mutinied and fled to Tanzania. Desperate to stay in power, he used the last option he had. In October 1978, he ordered the invasion of Tanzania, claiming they had instigated the unrest in Uganda. However, in an unexpected turn of events, the Tanzanian forces fought off the attack and invaded Uganda.
Fuck that up.
Yep. On April the 11th, 1979, Tanzanian and exiled Ugandan soldiers captured Uganda's capital, Kampala, and overthrew his regime. Now, given his connections with Gaddafi, he first fled to Libya, taking his 4 wives, I assume 4 wives at this point.
He's left 2
Left
behind.
behind. They got syphilis.
Yeah, possibly.
They've all got syphilis at this point.
And more than 30 children along with him. Eventually, he moved to Jeddah in Saudi Arabia, and he remained there until 1989, when he used a fake passport to fly to Kinshasa, which is a city in the Democratic Republic of Congo. He died August 16th, 2003, after multiple organ failure, and his family disconnected him from life support.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder which wife was fighting to be the one that pulled the plug.
He actually died in Saudi Arabia. He he certainly claimed he'd found Islam, and basically lived his life as a kind of religious, what would you call it? Recluse. He used to go and pray all the time. They never extradited him because he obviously professed to the Islamic faith.
And that's why he did it then.
Yeah.
And he lived a long...
And he lived until he died of organ failure.
Wow.
And he died.
Sometimes
and
no
he
justice, is
just got away with it all, which is nuts.
Killed so many people.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awful.
Yeah. But there you go. He's in my top 10 of mad dictators. What about you?
I haven't got a list, Ben.
You're like,
all right.
Right.
You got power rankings.
Yeah, is that right?
Yeah,
So my favourite one.
I got top trumps.
He's just there. There's pictures in his room. He's like trying to be like you guys.
On my inspiration board, my vision board.
Yeah. I want to have a smile like Idi Amin.
He was a natural guy with the people, a man of the people, Idi. Until he started killing them all.
I was gonna say, what people? There was no one left. No wonder it was so easy to invade. There was no one left to protect it. They were all gone.
How many Ugandan soldiers you think stood and fought as soon as those Tanzanian troops came rolling over the border? They've already had their asses kicked once. I bet they just fucking let them straight in.
I would have just.
You know what? We'll come with you.
And just hope to God that they kill him.
He got away with 4 wives and 30 kids.
Yeah.
And probably a fair amount of the treasury.
I bet you he did, yeah.
He'd have to buy his way into Saudi Arabia, wouldn't he?
Well, yeah. I mean, as a dictator, at least you've always got access to the treasury. I mean, I'd have that stash of gold ready to go at any one time.
I'd just sleep on it like a dragon.
I don't think I fancy sleeping on gold bars.
No, I'd put a bed on top of it.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
You got.
Or maybe like a Scrooge McDuck thing where you just dive into it. So I go straight out of my bedroom, just dive into the money.
You know how Scrooge McDuck does that?
How?
I don't recommend you do it.
How does he do it?
He couldn't.
He couldn't do
No,
it.
he'd break his neck on the first attempt. If you've literally got that much gold
It would
piled
just
up,
snap, yeah.
you just jump and the density of it
Yeah,
alone
but
would
this is
just snap your neck.
cartoon rules.
You're not living in Toontown, mate. Roger Rabbit's not going to come round the corner in a minute.
Just die. I'm the Toon Dictator.
Oh, how tragic would that be?
Toontown.
The dictator of Toontown. You've got animated soldiers shooting rabbits and dogs. Oh my God. Winnie the Pooh just got shot.
That's the kind of dictator I want to be.
No, Donald Duck's not trying to, because he's a Navy guy, he's trying to lead the resistance and then you execute him publicly.
Yeah. Field Marshal Fudd.
Bugs Bunny would obviously be on my side because he just loves chaos.
Yeah, actually, you're probably right. He would be.
He would be.
Yeah. Yeah. Daffy would be on the other side, though.
Yeah, it would be.
So you know where you'd have Daffy Duck in your cabinet, isn't it? I'm down for it. Well, that took an even more tragic turn.
It did, yeah.
Today, Dictator Shawn cured 50,000 lovable cartoon shoes.
Oh.
Just the shoes.
Just the shoes. You didn't like the shoes. One of them looked at you funny once.
So I massacred all the shoes.
Yep. All the cartoon shoes dead.
Now no cartoons will ever have shoes.
Not flopping around talking shoes.
Everyone's going to walk around barefoot.
Yeah. Tragic. So, Fidel. One of my personal favourites.
Yeah.
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 Obviously, I mean, there's a difference between me looking at him from a Western point of view, which is like giving the middle finger to America for the best part of 60 years.
You got to mind for that.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know, literally just sitting off the coast of Miami,
Yeah.
waving his middle finger in the air.
Just think he just goes by and goes, fuck you guys.
I think he just sailed just outside of American national waters.
Yeah.
The Coast Guard are there, and he just like stood on his Cuban yacht going, fuck you.
And then they're like, what? And he's like, fuck you guys.
Yeah.
What?
You come over here and say that, Castro. You come over here and say that.
It's just like,
smoking a cigar, looking
it's just like
badass.
next time we bring a sign so they can read it.
Or a megaphone.
Yeah.
That's the irony, isn't it? The Yanks went all over the world fighting communism in Vietnam and that. And they had a little communist country right on their fucking board and they couldn't do anything about it. I loved it.
So, Fidel Castro, which is his full name, Fidel Alejandro Castro Ruz, born August 13th, 1926, and died in 2016, November
Wow.
25th.
Decent life.
Political leader of Cuba from 1959 to 2008.
Wow.
So he's in
It's
power a
impressive.
long ass time.
Yeah.
He transformed his country into the first communist state in the Western Hemisphere, becoming a symbol of communist revolution in Latin America. He held the long title of Premier until 1976, and then began a long tenure as President of the Council of State and the Council of Ministers. He handed over provisional power in July 2006 because of health problems and formally relinquished the presidency in 2008,
Wow.
February. So, I mean, like, it's not bad, really. I mean, he didn't even get overthrown.
No.
No, not many dictators relinquish their power.
Yeah, they usually get overthrown.
Yeah.
Which is an indication that he probably wasn't that bad of a
Yeah.
guy.
Indication that the people must have thought, well, all right, we're quite poverty-stricken,
Yeah.
but I have got free healthcare.
He must have done enough to keep people happy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it
well-
improved their conditions because before that, Cuba was just a satellite puppet state of the US.
Yeah.
And, you know, whatever crops they were growing in that, I think probably sugar canes and tobacco. They used to obviously get all the profits,
Hmm.
the American companies, and leave
Oh,
the
they just
people
take
working.
everything.
Yeah, you know, it's what they want to do to Venezuela and Bolivia.
Hmm.
You know, and so I imagine that it was probably better under Castro for the average person than
Hmm.
before.
I suppose at least you may not be getting paid great, but if he's going under the basic tenures of communism, certainly the communism he
Yeah.
was following, then everyone would have a house
Hmm.
or an apartment. They would have a job. It might not be the best, but the state's paying for state's giving you a food ration.
Healthcare, education, all these things improved under him, I think.
Yeah, but obviously, if you are a poor Cuban, things aren't probably going to improve for you unless you're quite smart.
Yeah, I'd imagine it's not
Yeah,
very
but
good
you-
for the individual.
Yeah, but I mean, your healthcare's better, your education's
Hmm.
better, your job better. It's better
Well,
paid.
Well,
That's based on if you're not like a wealthier person. So if you were like wealthy, then you could just pay for healthcare or travel abroad
Yeah.
for healthcare.
not under Castro.
no, but under
you're not
Castro,
leave.
Oh, I think you can probably leave, actually, to
Yeah.
be fair. But
I'd
Under-
imagine if he was ill, he probably went to somewhere
no, I
else.
don't think
Sean,
he did.
before Castro, they didn't have healthcare
Yeah,
because they were poor.
yeah,
Under Castro, you had healthcare.
yeah,
So, you know,
yeah. So
even
it's
the
good
average
for-
person,
Yeah.
your life has improved immeasurably. Even the US don't have fucking free healthcare, do they?
Hmm.
And also, I suppose it's better to be working for the state, which is paying everybody the same wage
Hmm.
for the same. Well, not let's say if you're a guy in the fields working on the farm doing the tobacco or the sugar or whatever, everyone's on the same money as you.
Yeah,
I suppose at least that's some equality amongst your fellows.
it just makes it long days. I'd imagine. I read
Hmm.
something about in Venezuela the average working day is like 12 hours long.
Oh, probably, yeah. That
So-
doesn't surprise me. Yeah,
Long days.
they're getting
I
their
guess.
money. They're getting their money over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not very good for the
Mm.
individual. I guess that wants to improve their life. It keeps you at the same level, doesn't it?
Well, it depends how smart you are, doesn't it?
Mm.
I mean, in this, they've got an education system. It's state run.
Mm.
They had free healthcare, so people are getting educated inland to be doctors. They've got to be getting into a
Yeah.
certain level of education.
There's
So
a lot of doctors around the world.
Mm.
yeah, they do actually. To be
Crisis
fair. They have got
places.
one of the best doctor to population ratios
world.
per capita.
Mm.
I mean, there's a population of like 5-10 million people tops,
Yeah.
isn't it? But still,
I'd rather live in Cuba with healthcare than in the US without healthcare.
where am I living in the US?
If you're a poor person in the US,
Oh, right. It's
or a
I'm in
poor
like a
person
trailer
in Cuba,
park.
at least I've got healthcare.
Yeah,
At least I don't have to worry about that. That's one less thing to worry about.
true. And fine cigars.
I'd rather live in the US, to be fair.
Well, I don't know.
Healthcare is one of those things where if you need it, then it's good to have it, but rarely do you actually need it, the average person. So I'd rather be in a country where you could like make money and progress in life than like literally be 12 hours a day on fields all day.
You haven't got. If you
Well, I'm
work
more
hard
likely
and
to-
apply yourself.
I'm
If you're a doctor,
I'm more likely to work myself to death in one of those
Well, no,
countries.
they don't want you to work yourself to death because then you're no good, are you?
Yeah, but that's what would happen, though, isn't it?
What, you would work yourself to death personally?
No, I wouldn't, but a lot of people would, wouldn't they? Do you think you could survive for a long life on 12 hours a day?
No, probably not.
There you go.
But on the
So-
plus side, you'd be ripped as fuck from all that work in the
Yeah,
fields.
some people would, yeah, but I mean, I feel like you'd need to use that healthcare system a lot more in a lifestyle like that.
Mm.
So I think I'd rather live in a country where maybe the lifestyle isn't so harsh.
Unless you get
but people
shot.
in the US, they're taking 3 jobs. Some people are working 16 hours a day just to get by.
Yeah, maybe some people, but it wouldn't be many, would it?
I'd say probably easily the bottom 25%.
Really?
Yeah. Below 50% is, in America, people are below the poverty line, mate. It's terrible.
50%?
Yeah.
I thought it was like 9%.
No, I think it's higher than that.
I'm pretty sure it's 9%. Google it. Find out.
All right, hang on.
Live Googling.
Yeah.
All right, talk amongst yourselves.
I think it's about 9%.
What am I looking for? How much of the population is below the poverty line in the
In
US?
America. I think it's about 9.
You could be right. I thought I had 50, but
9 is still too much.
A lot of countries are higher.
Yeah, 1 is too much.
Yeah. But a lot of countries have higher than that. Type faster.
I'm trying to.
Mhm.
I'm a Zennial.
We need like a countdown.
Right, I'm nearly done. Hang on. 11.8% is the
okay.
official
All right,
poverty
fair
rate.
play.
Yeah, is that now though? Because I'm pretty sure it went down to 9. It's
Oh
gone
no,
up
hang on. That was
since COVID.
That was 2007.
Yeah, I think it's 9% now.
2018,
I think it's like 9.6 or something.
2019.
But I think it might have gone up because of COVID.
2019 was 10.5.
Yeah, it's coming down.
Yeah, all right, fair play. 10%. I thought it was higher than that.
In the last census they had in 2017, it was 1 in 8.
Yeah.
About 12%.
But in full fairness, the poverty line in America is apparently $25,000 for a family.
Yeah. The poverty, the level of life is still quite high even for the poor people. So I'd rather live there than one of your communist countries where the quality of life would be severely less. That's the thing, isn't it? The poorest of the poor in a rich country will still be more wealthy than some of the richest of the rich in poor countries. So I'd rather live in America.
Well, not the richest of the rich, but if you compare where
Yeah.
would you rather live as a poor person?
Yeah, well, not obviously your millionaires, but like your people that,
You're middle class.
yeah, your middle class.
Yeah, because if you're in a poor country, then your average earning is down anyway.
Yeah.
It's more about social standing at that point, I
Yeah.
suppose.
Yeah, so
Anyway, more about
Right,
Fidel.
Fidel.
It's estimated the CIA attempted to assassinate Castro 638 times while he was president of Cuba.
yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Never succeeded.
All them exploding cigars, which is a genuine thing.
They actually put explosive in his cigar.
Yep.
Wow. How come it didn't blow up?
Yeah, it's really hard to get enough explosives into a cigar that tastes like a cigar and looks like a cigar and feels like a cigar
That won't.
and is actually powerful enough to blow your head off.
So did he actually smoke it though?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
some of them went off, but just didn't kill him. It wasn't enough to kill him. So you can't fit. The idea is you smoke it and then it blows your fucking head off. But
You just
You
got
can't put enough plastic explosive in a cigar and it still be a cigar because he's going to want to. You'd have to draw it right to the end, wouldn't you? So some he had and just didn't smoke them that far down, put them out, and sparked another one up later.
So it was like a game for him.
Yeah, pretty
Just like-
much. Because you can't really have a cigar taster.
Yeah, yeah.
At the Jesuit school he attended, he was snubbed by the other boys because he was not as wealthy as them.
Oh wow.
His dad was actually quite wealthy. Arguing that it affected the sugar harvest, he eliminated Christmas as a federal holiday in 1969. Bastard.
I'm down for that. I hate Christmas.
But then again, as a communist, technically they're secular. So Christmas has no need to be a holiday, does it? You'd have other holidays instead. You'd have Revolution Day. That would be the new Christmas.
Everyone gets a free cigar.
Yeah, of course. And
Even children, here, baby, have a cigar.
all the kids smoke cigars in Cuba. That's how it works. You have smaller cigars. You grow into your cigar. Lungs like a 90-year-old
Well, like a
miner by the
It's a
time
baby
25.
cigar. It's like
Yeah.
a mini
Little
cigar.
cigarello for the babies.
That's funny.
He only professed himself to be a Marxist-Leninist at the end of 1961, though.
Oh, right.
Yeah, he was
So
actually.
what was he claiming before that?
I think he was just a communist. Maybe he was a Stalinist
That's
or whatever. The
That's
US
not something you want to
what have the
proclaim.
definitely
USSR
not.
gone into by this would be Khrushchev in 61. So I guess it was still state authoritarianism.
Yeah. It was better than under Stalin.
Well,
wasn't
yeah,
it?
they did get rid of a lot of Stalin's changes.
They went through a period of de-Stalinisation, didn't they?
Yeah. So his dad was an immigrant from Spain and had a pretty prosperous sugarcane plantation. He attended Roman Catholic boarding schools, outstanding athlete, and in 1945
They're all great athletes.
they are.
Yeah. Maybe I've got the wrong call in here. I just need to grow that moustache.
Yeah.
That's going to take another 10 years.
You were getting close and then you shaved it
I
off.
know, I did.
Also, clever guy. He entered the School of Law of the University of Havana. Yeah. His main activity, though, at the university was politics, and in 1947 he joined an abortive attempt by Dominican exiles and Cubans to invade the Dominican Republic and overthrow General Trujillo. He then took part in the urban riots that broke out in Bogota, Colombia in 1948.
Wow.
So he's getting about being a revolutionary.
Sounds pretty cool.
He's cutting his teeth. He's
Yeah.
cutting his revolutionary teeth.
He's getting there.
And he still graduated and became a.
I like that. He's got sort of good study and revolutionary balance there.
Yeah.
He's like, shit, I got to get back my assignments in for tomorrow.
Yeah, that's our semester starts in a week. Either this revolution needs to be done in a week, or I'm going home. I'm going to make the midterms. But yeah, he began to practice law. So he's a lawyer. He's a Cuban lawyer.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't feel like you'd need that profession there.
well, lawyers always make money.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter whether you're a communist or a capitalist. Lawyers always make money. Still laws. There's still trials. There's still
Yeah.
courts. You know.
Yeah, but they're just for show, aren't they? Surely.
No, there's still an element of justice. There's still justice even in communism. It's just that the laws are stricter.
Yeah.
You still need a defence lawyer. You still get that, I'd have thought.
How often do they win, do you reckon?
Probably not very often. But, you know, still a steady job.
It's true. It's true.
He then became a member of the Reformist Cuban People's Party and he became their candidate for a seat in the House of Representatives in the election scheduled for June 1952. However, the former Cuban President General Fulgencio Batista overthrew the government of President Carlos Prio Sacaras and cancelled the elections.
As you do.
Yeah. After legal means failed to dislodge Batista's new dictatorship, Castro began to organise a rebel force for the task in 1953. So he's like, well, fuck it, there's not going to be an election. I'm going to get some boys together. We're going to fucking overthrow
Get some lads.
Get some lads together. We're going to overthrow this. So this guy's taken over, man.
Yeah.
He's a military. He's a general.
Yeah.
Just come in. I'm in charge now. Fuck your elections. I'm in charge. I'd be pissed off too. We should all be more like Fidel.
Yeah. Just sounds like a rogue, to be fair, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's a rebel.
Yeah.
You rebel.
Fighting for the
scum.
people, isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't sound like he's done anything bad yet.
No.
Yeah.
Is there a bad list or
Not really.
Not really.
We'll get through his
sounds
tale
like
anyway.
an alright dude, to be fair.
Yeah, so after legal means, so they've gone legally as well. He's a lawyer. They've tried to this isn't right. This isn't legal.
Hmm?
So on July 26, 1953, he led about 160 men in a suicidal attack on the Moncada military barracks in Santiago de Cuba in the hopes of sparking a popular uprising. Most of the men were killed and Castro himself was arrested. After a trial in which he conducted an impassioned defense, he was sentenced to 15 years imprisonment. He and his brother Raul were released in political amnesty in 1955, and then they went to Mexico to continue their campaign against the Batista regime. There he organized Cuban exiles into a revolutionary group called the 26th of July Movement. On December 2nd, 1956, he and 81 other men landed on the eastern coast of Cuba from a yacht. Pretty cool. All of them were killed or captured, apart from Fidel and Raul Castro, his brother, Ernesto Che Guevara, and 9 others who retreated into the Sierra Maestra to wage guerrilla warfare against the Batista forces. With the help of growing numbers of revolutionary volunteers throughout the island, Fidel Castro's forces won a string of victories over the Batista government's demoralized and poorly led armed forces. As well as his propaganda efforts, they proved particularly effective, as internal political support waned and military defeats multiplied, Batista fled the country on January the 1st, 1959. Castro's force of 800 guerrillas had defeated the Cuban government's 30,000-man professional army.
That's awesome.
Yeah. As the undisputed revolutionary leader, Castro became commander-in-chief of the armed forces in Cuba's new provisional government, which had Manuel Urita, a moderate liberal, as its president. In February 1959, Castro became premier and thus head of the government. By the time Urita was forced to resign in July 1959, Castro had effectively taken political power into his own hands. So he kind of just snatches the power.
Yeah, that's where the kind of dictatorship comes in, doesn't it? He just takes it.
Yeah. But I like it still.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing so far.
But then again, he's probably thinking, you know what? I fucking did this.
Yeah.
I overthrew this government, along with my fellow freedom fighters, but I was the guy, the brains behind all of this.
It doesn't sound like he's done anything wrong, yeah.
I mean, 800 men against 30,000 in a guerrilla war, your money's still on the 30,000. Let's face it. Okay, so he came to power with the support of most Cuban city dwellers on the basis of his promises to restore the 1940 Constitution, create an honest administration, reinstate full civil and political liberties, and undertake moderate reforms.
That doesn't sound too bad.
No.
But once established as Cuba's leader, he began to pursue more radical policies.
Oh, no. This is how it starts.
Cuba's private commerce and industry were nationalized. Sweeping land reforms were instituted, and American business and agricultural estates were expropriated.
Well, I'm up for that. What's wrong with that? Nationalising the industry.
So he's just basically
going more communist. They had a moderate liberal. Fidel's gone, you know what, you're too moderate.
Yeah.
I'm going to go further to the left.
He's just basically trying to keep everything within his own country, isn't he? So
yeah, he wants the wealth of Cuba to go to the Cubans rather than United American fruit.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. It's no more than go back to Britain in the 60s, the 50s.
It's what Trump's doing now, isn't it? He's doing that now.
Well, no, it's just like, it was social.
Yeah, sorry?
Is he?
Yeah, he's closed trade with China, hasn't he?
Oh, right, okay.
So he's trying to bring all the factories that moved to China back to America.
Right.
So he closed trade with them to bring them all back.
Trump's a socialist.
Yeah, but it's the same sort of thing of bringing that wealth back into your country.
Yeah.
It's not about the political...
He wants the wealth to stay in the country.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the political ideals. I'm talking about sort of the economic decision to stop trading outward. And
you mean the tariffs, like?
Yeah, sorry?
The tariffs and all that.
Yeah, they're trying to keep all the trade like internal.
Make it better for the American industry to buy from within America than buy from China, basically.
Yeah.
So
because all the American companies have gone to China because it's cheaper.
Yeah,
cheaper
so
labour.
Now they're coming back because he's dropped the sort of taxes for them all.
Right.
So they're coming back, so it's creating new jobs for Americans. So more wealth, essentially, which is what he's doing, Castro.
Yeah, the United States, however, was alienated by these policies and offended by Castro's fiery new anti-American rhetoric. His trade agreement with the Soviet Union in February 1960 further deepened American distrust. Now, in 1960, most economic ties between Cuba and the United States were severed, and the United States broke off diplomatic relations with the island country in January 61. Now, they have the Cuban blockade, which I think comes a little bit later. One of the last things Kennedy got from Cuba was some cigars, a box of cigars.
Yeah.
He's like, well, he loved them cigars. I'm not going to do a Kennedy impression. I was trying to. But
Why didn't he get like 10 boxes?
Oh, he might have got more than one. He might have got a few. But either way, it's that was one of the last orders he signed, trade orders to
I
Cuba.
do love Cuban cigars.
They are very nice. So, in April of that year, 1961, the US government secretly equipped thousands of Cuban exiles to overthrow Castro's government. Now, when we say American government, we don't really mean the US government. We don't mean its administrative branch, Kennedy, his administration. Kennedy did not want to invade Cuba. He did not want to antagonize the Russians too much because he felt that him and Khrushchev had a good working relationship. He was fully aware of the nuclear brinkmanship that was being played by both sides. He was deeply distrustful of the military-industrial complex. We were trying to pull his guys out of Vietnam because at this point they were being sent over there as advisors and still engaging the enemy. So he didn't want any of this. And I forgot where I was going with that point. So yes, basically the CIA orchestrated this whole fucking thing. This was Alan Dulles and the CIA, and he is a complete twat, Dulles. Read up on him. Basically, the CIA decided in the Cold War that it was we're an extension of foreign policy. How far we want to extend that is up to us. So that's why
kind of an outreach of power without permission, isn't it?
Yes. So they go to Kennedy and say, look, we're going to invade Cuba. We've got these Cuban rebels. We're going to invade at the Bay of Pigs. I'm sure you've heard of that.
Of course.
Yeah. We need 2 days of air support from the US Air Force. And Kennedy's like, no, fuck you. I'm not doing it. You're not bullying. Because they were like, well, the invasion's going in. It's going in the morning. We need 2 days. And he's like, well, no, you're not having it. In the end, he did relent. He gave them like 2 hours. But as a result, because they had no air support.
So they kind of bullied the president into getting what they wanted.
Yeah.
Wow.
But after that, Kennedy was like, fuck the CIA. I literally want to scatter the CIA to the winds and put a new organization in.
Yeah.
Obviously, he never got the chance.
Didn't happen. End very well for him then, I'm guessing.
No. Well, Kennedy got shot.
So you think they shot him?
Possibility. That'll be a whole other episode.
Yeah.
Now, Cuba then acquired...
Spiraling into the next conspiracy there. Like...
Yeah, we nearly went down the JFK route.
Nearly.
I've been listening to a lot of JFK. I've listened to a 6-part series on the JFK assassination.
Yeah, you did say earlier.
So
I thought you'd squeeze it in.
I'm quite clued up on this period of history at the moment. So because the US Soviet Union is mates with Cuba, Cuba stopped buying guns off them because all the Soviets really made was tanks and guns in the 60s and nukes.
Yeah.
And it became the country's chief supporter and trade partner. So they're trading with the entire Soviet bloc. So they're actually not on a bad deal, really. They've got free trade with us. Well, they've got a trade agreement with the. So we're not just talking Russia. We've got all the satellite states too. However, in return for that, the Soviet Union secretly stationed ballistic missiles in Cuba that could deliver nuclear warheads to American cities.
Yeah.
Pretty big clause in the trade contract.
Just a bit. They couldn't have thought the Americans would be happy about that.
Well, you say that, Mike. Cuba's, I think, 60 miles off the US coast, something like that. Yeah, one of the reasons Turkey got allowed to join NATO,
so they could have missiles.
was that they could put missiles in Turkey, which is 150 miles away from the Russian border, and the Russians wouldn't be able to respond fast enough with a new strike of their own before the Americans could take them out.
I'm not saying the Americans
I think this is just Russia going, oh, fuck you, how do you like it?
Yeah.
They may not have kept them there, but they're putting them there to prove a point.
Yeah, it was a dick measuring contest, wasn't it?
Of course it was. That's why all missiles are penis-shaped.
But the Russians took the missiles out of Cuba. Did the Yanks take the missiles out of Turkey?
No, they did not. Mainly because the US blockaded Cuba, and the Russian fleet that was carrying more missiles to Cuba was a military fleet, remember, they're carrying missiles. And the US Navy was there, the Russian Navy were there. There was a point of no return drawn in the fucking water. It's like, you cross that line, it's an act of war. We're blockading this island. And it nearly came to a nuclear war.
Wow.
It really very close came to a nuclear war. I think it was a Russian commissar on one of the ships basically ordered the captain to stop. I think he ordered the captain to stop. Yeah, I could be wrong. I haven't listened to that bit for a while. But
That's crazy.
He basically stopped World War III, and it would have been a full nuclear war.
I'm still waiting for the bad bits on this guy. He sounds pretty cool at the moment.
Oh no, actually, Mike, you were right. The Cuban Missile Crisis ended when the Soviet Union agreed to withdraw its nuclear weapons from Cuba in exchange for a pledge the United States would withdraw the nuclear-armed missiles it had put in Turkey, and they wouldn't seek to overthrow Castro's regime.
Did they take them out?
Yeah, I guess they did them.
Oh.
They must have. Otherwise, they'd still be there in Cuba, wouldn't they?
Yeah. Yeah, but did they take them out of Turkey, or did they hold up there under the bomb?
They must have. Otherwise, the Russians have gone, well...
Yeah, we'll put them back.
We'll put them back.
I'd be like, wait a minute, they're still there. Put them back.
In the meantime, he created a one-party government to exercise dictatorial control over all aspects of Cuba's political, economic, and cultural life. All political dissent and opposition were ruthlessly suppressed.
Oh, there you go. There we go. Damn.
Many
doing well.
Many members of the Cuban upper and middle classes felt betrayed by these measures and chose to immigrate to the United States.
Okay, so
Scarface. We're in Scarface era.
So
now.
this is literally, he's a man for the working class people, and that's why they loved him. But the problem with that is then you're getting rid of all the other people. So an economy runs on all three classes, don't it?
Yeah.
So if they're all leaving, then you've only got the working class people, but then you've got no one to distribute all those goods created.
But now
that's the only problem.
He does offset this.
You need a middle class.
At the same time, he vastly expanded the country's social services, extending them to all classes of society on an equal basis. Educational and health services were made available to Cubans free of charge. Every citizen was guaranteed employment. However, the Cuban economy did fail to achieve reduce its dependence on sugarcane. So it's like, well, we need to do other stuff apart from export sugar. It's like, oh, shit. So the economy didn't really grow. It didn't get significant growth.
Yeah.
But still, Castro's not a great economic manager.
No. Yeah. He did well on everything else by the sounds of it.
Well, the idea...
Proper man of the people.
He's an ideas man, but he needs someone else because he's got this... He wants to basically crack the whip over everything. He won't just go to someone who knows how to run an economy.
Yeah.
Run the economy for us, mate. No, I've got to do it. I am Cuba.
That's all he was missing was an economist.
Delegation. He could not delegate.
Yeah, that's all he needed. If he had someone to run the economy, then it would have went well.
But at this point, as an average person, your life's improving, isn't it? It's got to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got a job.
Yeah.
Might be well paid, but you've got a job. You've got free healthcare.
Depends how many people left, though.
Mainly the wealthy and a lot of criminals. He opened the prisons. Anyone who was politically opposed to Castro, he locked up. When the US opened Miami up in 81,
he got rid of all his prisoners.
He got rid of all the prisoners too. All the people didn't like him. He kicked them out.
And all the fucking murderers.
Murderers, criminals, rapists, gangsters. Yeah.
And Scarface.
And Scarface. Yeah. And they became, because they had stagnant agriculture and inefficient industries, they became increasingly dependent on Soviet trade policies to maintain its modest standard of living in the US's continuing trade embargo. So they just basically cut them off.
Yeah.
And he remained premier until 1976, when a new constitution created a national assembly, and he became president then. He retained the posts of commander-in-chief of the armed forces and secretary general of the Communist Party of Cuba, the only legal political party.
It was illegal to have an opposing party.
Yep. And he had unquestioned and total control over the government. Only his brother, who was the minister of the armed forces, ranked second to him. So his early attempts to foment Marxist revolutions elsewhere in Latin America foundered. So he's trying to spread the revolution to other countries. Cast off your capitalist shackles. Come join us. You know, fucking ace. He's sending troops out there. He's sending them to Africa. Come and join with us, you communist brethren. He doesn't care about the colour of their skin, just that their workers being oppressed.
The trade-off, isn't it?
Yes.
That's all it is. It's like have a level of life which is comfortable but not great, or have a level of life which might be difficult but could become great. It's one of those things, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're your kind of choices.
Everyone basically thought the Cubans were just surrogates for the Soviet Union in this period. It later turned out the Cuban acted on its own behest. He wanted to spread the Cuban Revolution and bolster his own standing in non-aligned countries in the less developed world. So from 1975 to 1989, Cuban forces fought in the Angolan Civil War on the side of the communists, and in 78 assisted Ethiopia in repelling an invasion by Somalia. And by 1980s, he's like one of the leaders of the non-aligned countries. So if you're not East, I mean, yes, he's got despite his ties to the Soviet Union, he's not ruled by them. He's not taking orders from them like the Poland, East Germany, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, Austria. They have their own puppet government, but everything, all the changes come from Moscow. He's in charge of his own island. He just trades with them.
Yeah.
So all the countries, like in the sort of third world, so African countries are just emerging as independent nations. He's kind of the leader of these guys.
Yeah.
So just join the revolution, man. I like it.
Yeah, he doesn't sound like too bad a guy. Just the ruthless suppression I don't like.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that let him down.
That's a black mark on his name.
That's it.
Yeah. Other than that, he seems all right.
Yeah.
He's doing a good job.
He did try and signify his willingness to renew diplomatic relations with the US, provided it end its trade embargo.
Yeah.
So he was willing to make a deal then?
Yeah. In 1980, this is Scarface, when we met earlier, he opened the port of Mariel for 5 months, and 125,000 immigrants, including some criminals, probably a lot of criminals, because he opened the fucking jails.
And just kicked them out.
Yeah. In the 80s, when Gorbachev came in, he began to undertake democratic reforms in Eastern Europe. This is a fall of the Soviet Union now in the late 80s.
Yeah.
And a lot of the Eastern Europeans were there just kind of slip out of Soviet orbit and get some independence.
Yeah.
He retained a hardline stance, exposing the discipline of communism. The collapse of the Soviet Union really took him by surprise.
Wow.
And the problem is they lost a lot of subsidies.
Yeah, cool.
So they got an economic decline, shortages of consumer goods. So he did allow some economic liberalization and free market activities, but he retained tight controls over the country's political life.
So really, his kind of fall is just because he didn't know what he was doing with the economy. If he could have nailed that down, he probably would have done a decent job.
Diversify the economy instead of just relying on sugar.
Yeah, that's it.
And also trading with more countries.
Yeah. The following year, 1994, he gets economic and social unrest leading to anti-government demonstrations, which hadn't been seen for 35 years.
So I'd like to see actually the sort of stats on the quality of life during that time.
It's more,
I imagine the quality, if people are starting to get annoyed with just the economic side of it, I would imagine maybe the wealth of the individual isn't very good at that point.
Yeah, I guess so. Usually in communist countries, it's weirdly, the people are actually quite wealthy because they've got nothing to spend the money on.
Yeah.
In a hardline communist country, I mean, like, see here, like, consumable goods are low.
Yeah.
Now, the Soviet Union, for example, I literally think used to make 10,000 cars a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sale to the public. You're on a 10-year waiting list for a car in the Soviet Union.
Yeah, I saw a video on that.
So, and then at one point, they couldn't even meet that target.
They'd make you wait 10 years.
Yeah. And when you did get a car, it was a fucking Lada or something like that, or a little Trabant. But so I guess they've got the same problem. People have got money and they want to spend it.
Yeah.
Because when East and West Germany reunified, I think it was Chancellor Kohl at the time.
Yeah.
Basically said, all right, we'll let you exchange the monies for the Reichsmarks 1 for 1.
Yeah.
And he nearly fucking bust them.
Yeah.
Because they had loads of money. They just couldn't fucking spend it. They couldn't spend large amounts of money. You couldn't get a car. You didn't buy a house.
Yeah.
Because the house was given to you. So what do you do with the cash?
Yeah. Does that go for most communist countries or just some?
I'd certainly say in East Germany.
Yeah.
First, that's
China's
not so much Vietnam.
I say China's communist, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think they've got they're communist by the fact they've got a chairman and a communist party.
They're not very well.
You've got free market capitalism, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got independent businessmen buying English.
Well, that's the only real
clubs.
way you can make a communist country work, doesn't it? You have to be able to trade with other countries, otherwise it just collapses, which is the problem he's running into now. He only really traded with Russia, and that's why he's screwed now.
That's it. And all right, it's great to be pally with all the non-aligned nations and kind of be the boss, but their economies ain't great either.
No. Even if you don't like capitalists, you kind of have to trade with them. Otherwise, you kind of run out of people to trade with because most of them are capitalists.
Yeah, and they're not going to say, well, maybe you change your system, maybe we trade with it. No, fuck you. I'm exposing the discipline of communism.
Yeah.
Then you
They're going to bring the private companies back into.
you literally
start.
get left on an island. Then essentially, you have no one to trade with.
But he did in 1980. He let more out, and then he started to open up the island a bit. You do start to get tourists coming from in the Eastern Bloc.
Yeah.
Coming over in the 80s on holiday.
Mm.
I mean, some of them anyway. Not your average bloke.
You need to make money from somewhere. So
Your
if you can't
Politburo members.
Yeah, your Politburo members.
If you can't
make
make it
coming over.
If you can't make it from trade, tourism's the next thing, isn't it?
That's it. And he even allowed the Pope to visit Cuba in 1998. So as a secular state, that's a big deal.
Mm.
In 2003, the National Assembly confirmed Castro as president for another 5-year term. During that year, the Cuban government arrested dozens of independent journalists and activists in a renewed government crackdown on dissidents. And some 75 activists were convicted for conspiring with the United States to subvert the revolution.
Mm.
He strengthened his alliance with Hugo Chavez from Venezuela.
No. I've seen some stuff on that guy. That guy was not a good person.
And they wanted to
Why was he friends with him?
Because they wanted to make a socialist initiative to promote regional commerce.
Oh no.
But through which Cuba provided healthcare professionals to Venezuela in exchange for discounted oil. That's not bad.
No.
Seems fair.
Yeah.
Obviously, with health failing in 2006, he passed power on a provisional basis to his brother Raul.
Yeah.
But it was the only time since 1959 he'd ceded control.
Wow. So
Guy never took a day off.
bit of a control freak.
Yeah. In February 2008, just days before the National Assembly was to vote for the country's leader, Castro, who had not appeared in public for 19 months, officially declared he would not accept another term as president, and he was going to step down. In part, it read, the message posted in the official Communist Party newspaper. I do not bid you farewell. My only wish is to fight as a soldier of ideas. Yeah.
It doesn't seem like a bad guy,
No,
to be fair.
apart from the political oppression.
Yeah,
that was the only thing.
suppression's
Really.
not very good. I'd like to know from people that lived there what their quality of life was there, to be fair. Because it's easy to read it from an outside sort of perspective, but what the actual quality of life was like. I mean, why were so many journalists getting arrested?
Well, they wanted to start speaking out, didn't they?
Yeah, so what was so bad that they needed to speak out about?
Usually if it's a government-controlled press, it's like 1984, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
hey, chocolate rations going up this week.
Yeah, so I'm imagining
But
the quality of life was dropping, especially after Russia was unable to trade with them
I
effectively.
think that was a big thing for him, wasn't it?
Yeah. So it's almost like he could have this sort of freedom and sort of country that he could adopt full communism, because he could kind of supplement the economy with Russia.
Yeah.
And then when Russia was gone, it was like, we don't really make anything or do anything. What are we going to do money wise? It's running out quicker than we can make it. And that becomes an issue, especially because big countries like America didn't want to trade with them.
That's it. You've got to open up, haven't you?
Yeah.
Sadly, as much as I admire I like his
It
adheres.
sounds like he was the closest to getting communism right, to be fair.
Yeah, but you've got to have that trade, haven't you?
Yeah.
And even he admitted in 2010 in July, because in the release of his memoirs, he told a United States reporter that the Cuban model doesn't even work for us anymore.
Yeah.
But he was quick to qualify these remarks in a speech that followed a few days later. So he's like, I didn't mean that it was a failure of communism, just that at the minute it's not working.
Yeah. It's difficult to make that kind of system work, isn't it? Because you're basically shutting yourself off from most of the world.
Yeah. He got on well. He called Obama, sent a letter when Obama visited Cuba. Fidel wasn't in charge, but he sent a letter to the communist paper calling him Brother Obama. Seems to get on with him. Yeah, I like him. He was the first sitting US president to visit the island in nearly 80 years for not acknowledging the accomplishments of the Cuban Revolution, including its effort to eradicate racism. The Cubans, trying to eradicate racism in the revolution.
That's good.
You got to look at the state of the average person before and after. Under Castro, it improved. So
I suppose,
who was in charge before him?
The Batista,
guy.
the dictator, the military, the general who just took power.
and the one before him, I guess, wasn't that good either.
He was democratic though.
least he was democratic.
because they were going to have the elections, weren't they? So,
So where are they at now? Still communism.
yeah.
Oh, well.
They've opened up a little bit more, I think. I mean, Obama's visiting them there. I'd imagine that there's some kind of relationship there. In April of 2016, a frail, soon-to-be 90-year-old Castro told the Communist Party Congress that he would be dying soon, and he implored party members to work to fulfill his communist vision for Cuba.
Wow.
So, you know, he wants to leave his legacy, I guess.
Yeah.
I think his brother's still running the show.
Okay. Younger brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now,
One of the better dictators, I think.
well, he's better than Idi Amin, isn't he?
He's near the top, didn't he? It doesn't sound like, well, I obviously didn't have any figures of how many people he killed, but I would imagine it's not many. Not directly, anyway.
No, I'd certainly
It's only like he
more into locking them up.
and
Yeah.
extraditing.
Let's not assume he didn't execute people. but
Yeah,
probably
he
was
would
people
have
executed.
killed some, but probably a lot less than most dictators.
Yeah.
A lot less.
So, and if you think about it, it worked. I mean, it may not have been great to live there,
Yeah.
but your life under him was better than your dad's life had been under the last guy.
Yeah.
You know, you've got free healthcare, your kids are getting educated, and if they're getting an education, then they can be anything they want to be with it, can't they? You know, they can go and be a doctor, a judge, a lawyer, whatever.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, like you
Plenty of
said,
doctors.
Yeah, like you said, there were so many doctors, they were sending them over to Venezuela.
yeah, and they do send them to disaster zones as well. They usually was one of the first to go.
Yeah.
Venezuela definitely needs
I
to
think
get them.
I think when the last Ebola case, I think the first people there were, the last Ebola outbreak in
Yeah.
Africa.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the Cuban medical team was the first there.
Wow.
You know, and let's face it, you're gonna have some nuts to go there in the middle of an Ebola outbreak.
And just think, I mean, I don't know if the US put any sanctions on Cuba. I imagine they did.
Possibly, yeah. Well, they did until for a long time.
Yeah, so I mean, they may have flourished even more without them sanctions.
That's true. America, look at it from another perspective. If you've got Cuba and it's got it's trading with America,
Yeah.
and you've given, even Castro's like, okay, so we're trading with America, we're trading with the Soviet Union because fuck it, why not? You know, and your people have got healthcare, education, social services,
Guaranteed job.
guaranteed house. Now, aren't Americans going to look at that and go,
Of course they are.
fuck me, they've got a bet. I'm paying this much for healthcare, I'm paying this much for a mortgage.
Mm.
All right, I own the house after, but fuck me, I'm skint every month.
Mm.
Now, if Cuba's flourishing as a communist country,
Yeah.
then isn't that going to sit? It's not going to bode well for the American government when the people start
Course it
asking
isn't.
questions, are they?
Mm.
So I mean, if you think about it, America doesn't like communism.
Yeah.
It fought
Well,
Vietnam to stop communism spreading in the Far East.
A lot of countries don't like communism because
No.
they usually end up being the ruthless leader that murders everybody.
Yeah,
That's why most of them. I think they probably just didn't want to trade with him just because they didn't want to be seen to be advocates of.
that's it. They
communism.
couldn't be advocates of communism. What if it worked? What if Cuba's model worked? What if it had worked?
I understand what Mike's saying, but I don't. What he's saying makes sense in that it was an improvement to what it was before, but it was still a vastly lower level of life than say living in America.
Yeah,
I know what you're saying about America.
You still got your free healthcare though.
Yeah, but a lot of Americans do have healthcare. It's just private because a lot of them their
But I'd
job.
rather not pay for it.
Yeah, but they don't pay for it. Their job pays for it.
Oh yeah, that's valid. But if you haven't got that bonus with your job, at least I haven't got to pay for it.
And a lot of times they find out that
I'm not gonna
this is covered on healthcare. This isn't.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And
Dental plan. At least needs braces.
dental plan.
We can't lose our dental plan.
And also, it's one of those things as well when you go into it and you actually like economy was bad. So if the money's not there, what's the funding going to be like for your healthcare? So are you going to go in, say, get your dental done, and then you come out and then you get infection because they can't afford to get good enough drugs?
Oh no, I don't think
So-
it's like that.
No, I don't think
No.
that's. I think
Well,
Is
where's the money coming from to buy these
Well,
drugs?
there's-
Because they don't make them; they have to import them.
Well, they're
Who are
important.
they importing them from? Which countries are they importing them from? Probably,
Soviet Union.
yeah. But then when the Soviet Union disappears, who are they importing it from then?
well, that's
These
it.
these are the things. You see, this
Well,
is where
it's only America that doesn't trade. I'm sure that
This is where it
it might
stops.
trade with the EU.
This is where it starts to
Possibility.
collapse, though,
And
isn't
let's
it?
say if you open up the tourism,
Yeah.
then you've got to have an income. You've got to have a supply of medication coming into the country because tourists are going to come and get ill.
Yeah, but they didn't open that up till later on. So it's good to put in a healthcare system in place. But if you don't fund it properly, or you don't have the right people to trade with, so this is the problem in America right now. Everyone's saying, "Oh, Trump's awful. He's getting rid of Obamacare." Obamacare has cost in the country tons of money, and it's not helping people effectively. So he wants to get rid of it, and he wants to implement a better system so that people
What is
can
this
get the
better
healthcare.
system?
So,
why don't you just do Medicare for all then?
Because it doesn't work. It's not
What do you
cost
mean?
effective.
Of course it is.
It's not cost effective.
It is,
Do the
mate.
research, find the stats.
No,
It's
it's like 3 trillion or something you save by doing Medicare
They're
for all.
spending more on Obamacare now just to keep it running, and it's not working.
I don't know about Obamacare, but Medicare for all.
It won't work.
Even the right wing think tanks came out and said like 3. I can't remember the exact figure.
Do you want to know what? Do you want to know why it
something like
won't work? Because
It
when
works here.
it doesn't work here though, does it?
Well, what do you mean?
Well, if you break your leg, can you instantly get it fixed?
Yeah,
Or do you have to-
you got to
or do you have
wait.
to- yeah, and how long's the wait time?
At the minute, fucking 0.
It's 4 to 5 hours usually. Do you know? So Canada has a healthcare system. You know what the wait time there is? 8 hours. It's 8 hours.
That's badly run then.
So do you know what happens when anything? So if you're middle class or upper class and you're Canadian, you know what happens if you break a leg or break an arm? They drive to America and get it fixed there.
If they're upper class and middle class, probably.
They don't want to be. Yeah, so I just said if they're middle
Yeah.
class, they're upper class. They literally jump in their car and they drive to America because they want it fixed there and then. They'd rather do the 2-hour drive than wait 8 hours. Literally, there was a guy that literally did this. He did a social experiment. He's Canadian, but he lives in America. He goes to Canada, wears a cast, and they make him wait 8 hours, and then they send him home with a broken arm because they said that there's no doctors available. And he goes the next day, they send him home again after 8 hours, and he goes the third day, they send him home again, and that is because it is underfunded. But you can't keep finding
That's triage if he's already got his arm in a cast.
Huh?
He's already got his arm in a
No,
cast.
he doesn't. He has it in a sling.
Oh.
He puts it in a sling, and he turns up, and he's like, "Oh, I think I've broke my
Well,
arm."
that's triage. You've got to see
I'd
him
rather
in-
wait 8 hours than
I'd rather let you have
go
it
into
free.
hospital and then they say, "Oh, hang on, you haven't got any insurance, so
No,
we can't treat
he
you."
doesn't get seen for 4 days. It's on the 4th day that they see him, and then they say, "Oh, your arm's not
Well,
broken."
it's
He's
just
like,
I don't know about that. So it's anecdotal evidence, though, isn't it? You know.
"No, that's fact. You can find that anywhere. That is fact."
So it's a 4-day wait if you break your arm.
It's an average of an 8-hour waiting time. Yeah, if you go, a lot of them go to America because they can afford the private healthcare.
I'm Googling
You can Google it if you want.
average waiting
So what
time.
what he's trying to do right now, and the reason why it costs so much in America is because rather than dealing with the actual situation, and that is that drugs cost so much money, and they're just putting all this money into health.
Yeah, the drugs cost so much because it's a private.
Yeah, so what Trump is doing is negotiating the prices down. So he's knocking off
How's he doing that then?
So he's basically making them fight for trade, which is what you would do in an economy. So he's calling every drug company on the planet and basically saying, you fight for our the right to sell to us. Thus having, so say if you have, say, you know, when we had the Cineworld and Odeon. So Odeon could charge whatever price they wanted. When Cineworld turned up, Odeon dropped it down to £5 movie. They used to charge like £10-12 until Cineworld turned up. So that's what he's doing now. He's making all these drug companies fight.
Yeah, but with NHS, they buy it as a block. So they're able to buy more and they get it cheaper. That's why it's cheaper.
Yeah, but it's still really expensive. It is
It's
still
half
really
the price of the US, though.
Yeah, our drug prices are a lot lower.
Yeah,
in
but
the
it's
US.
still really expensive.
How long are the ER wait times in Canada? Nationally, it took 32.6 hours for patients to be admitted. Compared to 5 years ago, the average Canadian is waiting 4 more hours. The report found that seniors are spending more time in the emergency room. In America, the average ER patient waits around 28 minutes.
There you go.
Yeah, I can see why then. If they're rich and
Yeah,
But
they can afford
actually,
it.
most Canadians, 85.2%, aged 15 years and older, are reported as being very satisfied or somewhat
because
satisfied.
it's free.
I always go for the free. I'll
Yeah.
take the free.
But if you could massively, so right now the problem is in America, you don't want to pay $20,000 or $8,000 or whatever to get your leg fixed. But if you could bring that down to $200, I'd rather pay the $200, get my leg fixed in 20 minutes than wait 3 days, wouldn't you? And get it for free.
173 minutes in RA&E.
Yeah.
I'll wait the 173 minutes. Yeah, I'll wait the 2 and a bit hours. But
I'd rather pay the £200 and get my
I'd
leg fixed.
rather get it for free. For two, wait,
Yeah.
just sit there for the 2.5 hours. Fuck it.
I'd rather pay the money and get it done. And the thing is, as well.
No, man,
so,
sorry, free. You don't like spending money.
No, right. So my argument, I'm just going to win this argument so we can end it and wrap this up. Okay, if you have a heart, if you have a heart attack,
yeah,
and you go to a socialist sort of ran hospital,
like the NHS,
whether you live or die, they get paid anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're privately run in America, if you die, they can literally, if they lose enough people on the table, they can lose the job, and they also get paid less. You get paid more depending on how good of a job you do.
That's true. I've seen Scrubs.
Yes, and literally that's why Turk on Scrubs is the best doctor there because he wants to get
surgeon.
Surgeon, sorry, he's the best surgeon there, and that's because he wants to get paid more than everyone else.
Like a profit. It's like a results-driven business for a doctor, isn't it, in America?
Yeah, but you're saying the doctors, because they get paid more, they care more about the patients.
Yeah, that's true. That works. That's a fact.
It's their reputation and rating.
That is a fact. That's not.
No, because at the end of the day, whether a doctor's getting paid,
question a lot of doctors,
whether a doctor's getting paid
integrity.
10 grand a year or 100 grand a year, he's sworn the Hippocratic Oath. It's his duty to care. He's not in it for the money. He's doing it because he cares.
I'm not saying he doesn't care. I'm saying he cares less.
No, I don't know. I don't agree with that. I think you're assuming a lot.
I'm not assuming a lot.
You're assuming a lot about the morals of doctors.
It has nothing to do with morals.
There's literally first do no harm. That is the basic tenet of a doctor's creed.
They're not doing any harm. They're just not
working. They're doing harm by caring less.
They're not looking after
No, they're not. They're not working as hard.
Well, that's causing harm.
Not directly, that's indirectly.
Because if he's meant to come round in 20 minutes, he turns up an hour late because he's popped down for a Starbucks.
Do you know how many indirect, selfish things you probably do a day? People do that all the time.
I'm a twat.
Yeah, people do that all the time. But
I'm not a doctor.
You wouldn't call yourself a selfish person, would you?
Maybe.
This is my argument. They financial incentives are always going to push people to do better.
Yeah, it worked for me for 6 months.
Huh?
And then I just got bored and just went back to doing what I was doing before.
If you found some of the best doctors in America and compared their stats to some of the best doctors in the UK, I think you'd find that the Americans would win.
All right.
Yeah, but how many people can afford them top doctors? That's the problem.
Not about that. Wasn't our argument. Our argument was which is a better system. And
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's not a good system if only 2% of the population can afford the best doctors.
Yeah, but then I went back and said they are now trying to sort that out so that Trump is literally trying to sort that out now.
Well, I'll see it when I believe it with Trump. He says a lot of shit and never does anything.
Everything he's promised, he's done.
Okay.
Literally everything is. Name one thing and I'll tell you how he's done it.
I'm not going to go through all Trump's fucking
because literally
policies.
People, whenever I have these debates with people, they always say, "Oh, he's not done anything." I'm like, "Name one," and they don't even know the names of the things. Name one thing he hasn't done.
Well, he said he'd get us out of Afghanistan. Didn't do that.
He's actually done that.
No, there's still troops there.
Still troops there.
Taking them out slowly. Send that to Ben.
They're still there.
Yeah, in the next 4 years they'll be out.
He doesn't intend on taking them out.
He does.
All right.
The Taliban like him.
Yeah. They don't now.
Oh, don't they?
No, they come out and said they don't support him.
Man, the Taliban aren't supporting you. What's that saying?
It's fake news apparently.
All right.
He is slowly taking them out of all of the countries that they've been a part of in war for decades. He's slowly taking them all out because he wants to end all these senseless wars.
I hope he does.
He does. He is. He's doing it. He's pulled troops out of every country pretty much.
The US has got the best doctors.
Huh? Told you.
Boom! UK second.
Yeah. You're not going to win this debate on me. I have literally done all the research.
Yeah, you don't know nothing about Fidel Castro.
The argument is only certain people can afford them doctors. And if you're in the lower, the 10-12% that's below the poverty line, you ain't getting any hospital treatment.
No, that's true.
It's about 9 or 10%.
Or if you do, you become bankrupt and you live on the street.
It's about 9 or 10%, and that's why he's trying to fix it for that 9 or 10%.
That's a big chunk.
Huh?
That's a big chunk of your population, though, man. 33 million.
Yeah, it is, and that's why he's trying to sort it out because literally Obama put Obamacare in to help those people. It's not helping those people.
I don't know. I've heard a lot of people that say. I mean, I know it's anecdotal evidence, but you see it being interviewed, and they say, "Oh, when he got rid of Obamacare,
he hasn't got rid of it.
Worst thing that's ever happened."
He hasn't got rid of it.
Oh, hasn't he?
No, he's actually fixed it. He didn't get rid of it. He fixed it. So there was a problem with it, and
he tried to repeal it, didn't he? But
he wants to get rid of it. That's his long-term goal, but he didn't get rid of it. He actually fixed it. It was costing them a ton of money, and they weren't helping as many people as they were supposed to be. So he fixed it, and it's actually working better than ever. He hasn't got rid of it. He wants to, though, and he wants to replace it with this system where basically it's like you go on your tablet and you just literally pick, oh, I want this, and done, and then you literally go see your doctor. He's basically trying to streamline it and turn it into a business.
27 million people are uninsured in America
There you go.
in 2020, as of the 21st of
9%,
April.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's still a lot of people, though, man.
It's a hell of a lot of people.
It is a lot of people.
Now, if you're one of that, so let's say that if you're one of the bottom 10% in Cuba,
Yeah.
bringing it back to Cuba, you're still getting a free doctor. You're still getting the best medical care. It's an equal medical care for everybody.
What's the expected lifespan from someone from Cuba?
All right, hang on.
That's
the biggest. Actually, that's a really good indicator of how efficient.
During the rule of Castro, what was the lifespan?
Well, he
of a
just died,
Cuban?
so I imagine that there won't have much difference, would there?
Life expectancy in Cuba 2020, 78 years.
Oh, that's not bad.
That's actually better than us.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not bad.
78.89 years.
Yeah.
In the US.
Let's have a look in the.
Well, they all eat
US
cheeseburgers on mass, don't they?
2020. 78.93, only slightly higher.
Yeah.
God, actually, that's higher than I thought it was for America. I do.
And they're eating cheeseburgers every day.
Actually, Hong Kong's the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, well, there we go. That's from man, by the way. Women's is higher.
so really, there's no factual evidence that.
But I'd still rather have something for free. That's my point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all very well having these fantastic doctors who can fit me a new spine if I need to.
Yeah.
But if my healthcare doesn't cover that.
Yeah, my argument wasn't about whether or not everyone gets healthcare or not. I understand that both systems are flawed. My argument with the system of Castro is to what level of care is every single person going to get? I know some of these doctors are probably top of their field, but you're not going to get that every time, are you?
Well, that's the same in every country, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but
I mean, you go to Dolly doctors and you see some right fucking idiots in there because it's a training.
I wonder
doctors.
if the doctors in Cuba care as much as the doctors that are getting paid,
think they
and
do.
also.
Well, if they're fueled by the revolutionary zeal that they should be fueled by.
If they go into crisis places in the world and working for free, then I'd say they do care.
That's quite an indicator.
Yeah.
And I'd rather live the lowest 10%. At least in Cuba, you get healthcare. I mean, I know it's not a great standard of living, but neither is if you're in the bottom 10% of America.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen some of them some of those areas where the in them videos you've been watching, the inner city areas, they look pretty shit.
They're democratic Rand states. That's why.
They still look pretty shit, though.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we can all agree that Castro is probably one of the better dictators.
Oh yeah, he's one of the best.
Unless she's had a voice against him. But if you're just happy to get on with it, probably haven't got a bad life, really.
Yeah.
Better than living in fucking Uganda.
Definitely.
Getting your fucking disabled son thrown to a crocodile.
Definitely.
And certainly, well, I don't know, Turkmenistan doesn't seem a fun place, but I'm going to be my favourite's Fidel.
Yeah.
At the 3, definitely.
Yeah. All right. I've been Ben. Thanks for listening. Don't drink the Flavour Aid. Don't join a cult.
I've been Mike. Thanks for listening. Peace out. May the force be with you.
I've been Shawn. Thanks for listening.